Chapter 1445. Chapter 1445, Impossible. Stop messing around. Ningyu's face darkened when he heard the sapling and the Dark Emperor's words. How dare they dream of 10,000 Emperor-grade origin crystals? I'll have to devour them for God knows how long. What do you mean stop messing around? As long as you give me 10,000 Emperor-grade origin crystals, I can advance to the 4th grade Earth Supreme Realm. The sapling immediately said. He was willing to go all out for the Emperor-grade origin crystals. Ningyu, don't listen to him. Give me 10,000 Emperor-grade origin crystals and I can advance to the 7th grade Earth Supreme Realm. The Dark Emperor said sarcastically, the sapling is a 3rd grade Earth Supreme Realm now. Even if you give him 20,000 Emperor-grade origin crystals, he won't be able to advance to the 4th grade Earth Supreme Realm. What do you mean? The sapling raged. Nothing, I just want to remind you not to take everything for yourself. The Dark Emperor refused to back down. Shut up. I'll give each of you 10,000 Emperor-grade origin crystals. Ningyu was also afraid that the sapling and the Dark Emperor's quarrel would affect his refinement of the soul-luring pill. After all, there was only one set of ingredients for the soul-luring pill. If something went wrong, the consequences would be unimaginable. With a thought, Ningyu divided the Emperor-grade origin crystals in his interspatial pouch into 3 portions. 2 of them were given to the sapling and the Dark Emperor, while he kept the last one for himself. Forget it, I'll give the Law of Space one. Ningyu pondered for a moment before taking out another Emperor-grade origin crystal and tossing it into his storage ring. The sapling and the Dark Emperor weren't the only things in the interspatial ring, but also the Law of Space. Although the Law of Space didn't say anything, Ningyu still took out 10,000 Emperor-grade origin crystals and gave them to the Law of Space. The 3 fellows in the interspatial ring weren't easy to deal with. Ningyu didn't want to be distracted by them. Can we start now? The White Shield said coldly when he saw that Ningyu hadn't started refining the soul-luring pill yet. What's the rush? Ningyu rolled his eyes and said, just Emperor-grade origin crystals aren't enough to refine the soul guide pill. You'll need a pill furnace and a mysterious flame as well. I have an alchemy furnace. With a flick of his wrist, a palm-sized pill furnace appeared in his hand. Whoosh! With a sudden burst of strength in his right hand, By Shield threw the pill furnace at Ningyu. Kai. The pill furnace's flying speed was very fast. In the blink of an eye, it arrived in front of Ningyu. Ningyu, my pill furnace is ranked 101st on the pill furnace heaven list. It's more than enough to refine the soul-luring pill. By Shield said proudly. You want to test me? Ningyu's lips curled into a cold smile as he stared at the approaching cauldron. In the next moment, a gorgeous flame appeared on Ningyu's right hand, and he abruptly stuck it to the pill furnace. Seeing the flames on Ningyu's palm, By Shield and the 9th grade Earth Sovereign beside him had astonished expressions. Needless to say, the 9th grade Earth Sovereign was an alchemist. Furthermore, his spiritual energy had reached the level of liquefying. By Shield was also an alchemist. Although his alchemy wasn't high, he was a genuine 8th grade alchemist. The myriad bone flame that's ranked in the top 30 of the mysterious flames ranking? For a brief moment, By Shield and the 9th grade Earth Sovereign were dumbfounded. However, they were still dumbfounded by what happened next. Crack! A crisp sound rang out. In the next moment, the pill cauldron that By Shield had summoned shattered under the burning of the 1,000 bone flame. The sudden change had caused By Shield's face to turn ugly. At the same time, By Shield inwardly rejoiced that he had only brought out a furnace that was ranked 101st on the heavenly ranking, and not in the top 50. Your pill furnace is too inferior. I'll use my own. Ningyu casually threw the fragments of the pill furnace away and took out a pill furnace from his bosom. The Nihility Pill Furnace. The Nihility Pill Furnace was ranked 30th on the heavenly ranking, and it could withstand the myriad bone flame. How can you possess the Nihility Pill Furnace? Seeing the pill furnace that Ningyu had taken out, the 9th grade Earth Sovereign spoke out before By Shield could even speak. How did you obtain it? Palatial Lord Bai, someone is blindly speaking and affecting my refinement of the soul-luring pellet. Ningyu shrugged. He did not answer the 9th grade Earth Sovereign's question, but turned towards the palatial Lord Bai. City Lord Bai, I'll have to trouble you guys to leave for a moment. The palatial Lord Bai looked at Bai Shield, before looking at the leisurely Ningyu and said, you guys can come in after Ningyu refines the soul-luring pellet. We'll stand by the side and not speak another word. Bai Shield glared at the 9th grade Earth Sovereign and continued, Ningyu is only a middle phase 8th grade Earth Sovereign, and there might be some problems when he refines the soul-luring pellet. With the two of us here, we might be able to help. The palatial Lord Bai did not reply to Bai Shield, but looked at Ningyu, seeking for Ningyu's opinion. I'm fine with it. I just hope that City Lord Bai can help me out properly and not hide anything. As he spoke, Ningyu threw the nihility pill furnace in his hand into the air and casually picked up an ingredient and threw it into the furnace. Ningyu's words made the corners of Bai Dun's mouth twitch involuntarily. Not hide anything. I've already given you 100,000 Emperor-grade origin crystals. Are you trying to squeeze me dry? Don't worry, you can't catch the wolf without risking it. The 9th grade Earth Sovereign said in a low voice. That's the only thing we can do now. I hope that you can consider the bigger picture and not be too ruthless. Bai Shield sighed. He had already prepared himself to be scammed by Ningyu. Sizzle. Sizzle. However, Ningyu seemed to have forgotten to scam Bai Shield. He controlled the myriad bone flame to burn the bottom of the nihility pill furnace. After about 5 minutes, the first medicinal ingredient that was thrown into the cauldron was completely refined and turned into a pure liquid. I was wondering how powerful Ningyu was. So it turns out that he's just a wax statue. Seeing that Ningyu only took 5 minutes to refine the first ingredient, the 9th grade Earth Sovereign beside Bai Shield curled his lips in disdain. One must know that when he refined the soul-luring pellet, he only took a minute to refine the first ingredient. There were roughly a few hundred herbs required to refine the soul-luring pellet. With Ningyu's speed, how long would it take for him to succeed? Don't say that. Perhaps Ningyu is using a new refining method. Bai Shield shook his head. But no matter how one looked at it, Bai Shield's words seemed to be directed at the Palace Master. Palace Master, are you sure that Ningyu can refine the soul-luring pellet? Fairy Yun, she slightly knitted her brows. She was also doubtful. After all, Fairy Yun, she didn't have a good understanding of Ningyu. She knew that Ningyu was powerful in the martial Dao, but she had no idea about his standard in the alchemy Dao. Even the alchemy grandmaster that Bai Shield invited couldn't refine it. Isn't it a little rash to let Ningyu refine it? Perfected Master Heng Mo agreed. It's not rash. Believe in Ningyu. The Palace Master didn't want to speak further on this matter. Even if she did, Fairy Yun Shi and the rest wouldn't believe her. Ningyu would definitely be able to refine the soul-luring pellet, at least with a 90% success rate. That's because it was Ningyu who suggested using the soul-luring technique to control the mysterious expert of the 100 Flowers Palace. Chapter 1446. Revenge. All right. Since the Centaurea Palace Lord had put it this way, Fairy Yun Shi and Perfected Devil did not pursue the matter. Since the Centaurea Palace Lord believed in Ningyu, they could only follow suit. However, they had their doubts as to whether Ningyu could refine the soul-luring pill. City Lord Bai, come and help. Right then, Ningyu suddenly exerted strength and tossed the elixir cauldron into the air. Ningyu hooked his finger at Bai Dun and said, divert half of your soul power into the elixir cauldron. Fart. Bai Dun nearly spat out a mouthful of blood when he heard Ningyu's words. How was this asking for his help? This was clearly revenge. Why? City Lord Bai seemed to have said that he would definitely help as long as he could. Are you just saying that? Ningyu revealed a shocked expression and said exaggeratedly, looks like City Lord Bai has some troubles that you can't reveal. It's fine if you don't want to help, but I hope that you won't spout nonsense in the future. It might affect your reputation. Sigh. Subsequently, Ningyu sighed softly and murmured, how troublesome. I could have refined the soul-luring pill in an hour, but it seems like I'll need at least 3 to 4 days. Fart. Ningyu's low voice was very loud. As a result, everyone in the area heard it clearly. Bai Dun nearly spat out another mouthful of blood. You're clearly taking revenge on me. City Lord Bai, Don't you want to refine the soul-luring pill as soon as possible? How could the Centauria Palace Lord not know what Ningyu was thinking? However, so what if she knew? She had let Ningyu down first and could only try her best to salvage the situation. After all, given her relationship with Ningyu, getting Ningyu to help her refine the soul-luring pill was not a problem at all. However, she had assumed that the pill refiner at the peak of the 9th level that Bai Dun had brought along could refine the soul-luring pill, so she had turned a blind eye to what had happened to Lu Wei and the others. It was not until the 9th grade pill refiner failed to refine the soul-luring pill that she made up her mind to trust Ningyu unconditionally, because whether or not she could successfully cultivate the soul guidance technique depended entirely on Ningyu. Damn it! Cursing inwardly, Bai Shield could only divide half of his soul force into the nihility pill furnace in front of everyone. Combine. As soon as Bai Dun's soul force entered the pill furnace, Ningyu flicked his right hand and closed the lid of the nihility pill furnace. Immediately, Ningyu activated the 10,000 bone flame and started to burn the bottom of the cauldron. Kai kai. A crisp sound came from within the pill furnace. Ah! The crisp sound was followed by Bai Dun's blood-curdling scream. What the hell are you doing? Bai Dun was enraged and even wanted to attack Ningyu. You are taking revenge on me. Letting my soul force enter the nihility pill furnace has no effect on refining the soul-luring pill at all. You say it's useless? Ningyu curled his lips. Then, he grabbed several medicinal ingredients, opened the lid, and threw all of them into the pill furnace. As the 10,000 bone flame continued to burn the pill furnace, the medicinal ingredients that Ningyu had just thrown in actually turned into pure medicinal liquid. Bring me the jade bottles, Ningyu shouted. Swish, swish, swish. Fairy Yun she did not dare to delay and hurriedly threw dozens of jade bottles to Ningyu. Ningyu opened the lid of the nihility pill furnace and carefully separated the medicinal liquids before storing them into the jade bottles. Thank you, City Lord Bai. When he was done, Ningyu smiled at Bai Dun and said, Rest for now. I can still use your soul force in about half an hour. Sorry, my stomach suddenly hurts, so I'll be leaving first. Bai Dun shivered. He would need a long time to recover from the half of his soul force he had just lost, and he would also need to consume a lot of treasures. If he stayed any longer, the other half of his soul force might fall into Ningyu's trap. Instead of staying, it was better to leave first and wait for an opportunity. I've already sealed the surroundings with the 100-flower fan. No one can leave before Ningyu refines the soul-luring pill. Fairy Yun she said indifferently when she saw that Bai Dun was about to leave. Bai Dun helplessly stopped in his tracks. He was strong, but it wouldn't be easy for him to break through the 100-flower fan's defense. Prepare the enhanced white bone demonic powder. As long as Ningyu refines the soul-luring pill, we'll immediately activate the white bone demonic powder and capture them all. Bai Dun transmitted his voice to the 9th grade Earth Supreme. His tone was extremely cold. I've already prepared it. Let's not clash with them for now. The 9th grade Earth Supreme said expressionlessly. Swish, swish, swish. In the air, Ningyu continuously threw medicinal ingredients into the incorporeal pill furnace. Every few seconds, a medicinal ingredient would be refined. As time passed, Ningyu's refining speed became faster and faster. Roughly half an hour later, Ningyu had completely refined all the medicinal ingredients. This Ningyu really isn't simple. The fact that Ningyu had completely refined all the medicinal ingredients in half an hour shocked the 9th grade Earth Supreme. Even he, an alchemist whose soul force had reached the level of liquefying, would need more than 40 minutes to completely refine all the medicinal ingredients. Just who was Ningyu? To be able to completely refine all the medicinal ingredients in half an hour. Could it be that Bai Dun's soul force really had an unexpected effect? If Ningyu knew what the 9th grade Earth Supreme was thinking, he would probably laugh out loud. In fact, refining all the medicinal ingredients for the soul-luring pill in half an hour was far from Ningyu's limit. With Ningyu's soul force at the pinnacle of the 8th grade, he could refine all the medicinal ingredients in 10 minutes at most. After all, the soul-luring pill was only an 8th grade elixir, and Ningyu had mastered all the techniques to refine it. It wasn't difficult for him to refine it. The reason why Ningyu was stalling for time was because of Master Xingyun. Master Xingyun needed 3 hours, so Ningyu had to stall for 3 hours. There are still 2.5 hours left. How can I stall for time? After refining all the medicinal ingredients, Ningyu felt that it was a little tricky. He had to stall for time, and at the same time, he couldn't find any flaws. After thinking about it, Ningyu felt that he could only find trouble with Bai Dun. Cough, cough. After coughing twice, Ningyu looked at Bai Dun and said, "City Lord Bai, what do you want?" "I don't want to." Bai Dun's heart trembled. He immediately waved his hand and said, "My soul force has been heavily injured. I can't help you anymore. You've misunderstood me. I want your son, Bai Qi, to come and help." Ningyu lied without the slightest bit of guilt. He rolled his eyes and grabbed a few jade bottles. He said, "I want Bai Qi to help me fuse these medicinal liquids together." "No problem." Bai Dun originally didn't want to agree to Ningyu's request. But after thinking about it, he made up his mind. Bai Dun said in a clear voice, "As long as you can help refine the soul luring pill, our Bai family will not hesitate. Go and be serious. Don't mess it up." Chapter 1447. I will. Bai Qi nodded and walked towards Ningyu. Bai Qi's speed wasn't too fast. It took him 3 minutes to reach Ningyu. Bai Qi's speed wasn't too fast. It took him a full 3 minutes to arrive in front of Ningyu. Fuse these 2 herbs together. Ningyu didn't care about Bai Qi's speed. The slower Bai Qi walked, the better it was for him. Truth be told, he was very dissatisfied that Bai Qi took 3 minutes to reach him. But even if he was dissatisfied, Ningyu still threw the 2 jade bottles to Bai Qi and said, "I'll give you 10 minutes. After throwing the 2 jade bottles to Bai Qi, Ningyu no longer paid attention to Bai Qi and focused on fusing the liquids. Sizzle. Almost every minute, Ningyu would fuse several bottles of liquids together. Furthermore, Ningyu's speed was getting faster and faster, to a terrifying extent. Everyone, including the palace master, shifted their gazes towards Ningyu and Ningyu. However, Ningyu's attention was secretly placed on Bai Qi. As Ningyu rapidly fused the liquids, he paid attention to Bai Qi's movements. On the surface, Bai Qi seemed to be focused on fusing the liquids, but that wasn't the case. Ningyu saw a cold light fly out from Bai Qi's sleeve and enter the jade bottle without anyone noticing. Then, Bai Qi continued to fuse the liquids as if nothing had happened. Something's wrong. Ningyu's expression turned extremely grave. It seemed that his attempt to refine the soul luring pill had indeed ruined Bai Dun's plans. Even though he knew about Bai Qi's actions, Ningyu still didn't make a sound. The situation was very complicated. Even if Ningyu exposed Bai Qi in front of everyone, it wouldn't help. Firstly, Bai Dun was a pinnacle 9th grade Earth Supreme, so he definitely had a trump card. Secondly, the 9th grade early phase Earth Supreme beside the white shield was an alchemist that had condensed qi into liquid. His soul force was extremely strong. Finally, this was the territory of the City Lord's mansion. Although the surroundings were controlled by Fairy Yun Shi's 100-flower fan, who knew if the white shield could break through? After much consideration, Ningyu decided not to alert the enemy. Everything would have to wait until Master Nebula fully recovered. All right. Bai Qi's sense of time was very good. 10 minutes later, he had perfectly combined the medicinal liquid in the 2 jade bottles. With a flick of his wrist, the jade bottle containing the medicinal liquid flew toward Ningyu. "Go in." Ningyu suddenly leaped up and kicked the jade bottle with his right foot, sending it into the nihility pill furnace. Success. Seeing Ningyu's actions, the white shield and the 9th grade initial Earth Supreme were overjoyed. He placed the strengthened version of white bone magic powder into the nihility alchemy furnace. Now, the white shield and the 9th grade initial Earth Supreme were even looking forward to Ningyu refining the soul luring pill. That was because as long as Ningyu could refine the soul luring pill, the palace master would definitely consume it. Once the palace master consumed the soul luring pill that contained the strengthened version of white bone magic powder, the poison would attack her heart and she would fall under their control. Next, I'll try not to offend Ningyu. The White Shield and the 9th grade Initial Earth Supreme were determined not to offend Ningyu, lest something unexpected happened. Whether they could succeed or not depended on whether Ningyu could refine the soul-luring pill. Drip, drip. Time continued to pass. Ningyu's speed also increased. In just an hour and a half, Ningyu had entered the final stage of refining the soul-luring pill. Pill formation. As long as there were no accidents during the pill formation stage, the soul-luring pill would be a success. We still have to drag it out for another hour and a half. Ningyu said helplessly. Probably only Ningyu dared to drag the pill formation stage for another hour and a half. Everyone knew that the pill formation stage was very special. It couldn't be too short, nor too long. If it was too short, it would affect the quality of the pill. If it was too long, the success rate would be extremely low. Under normal circumstances, half an hour was the best time to refine the soul-luring pill. But now, Ningyu actually wanted to drag it out for another hour and a half. If the other alchemists knew about this, they would probably be speechless. Is it about to form? At this moment, the most anxious cultivators in the area were the Palace Master Hua. Whether Ningyu could refine the soul-luring pill or not depended on whether she could successfully cultivate the soul-luring technique. Right now, her main body was already at an absolute disadvantage in the fight against the mysterious expert. If she couldn't find a way to cultivate the soul-luring technique and use her trapped soul power to deal with the mysterious expert, the consequences would be unimaginable. There shouldn't be any problems. It was only now that Fairy Yun Shi and perfected Devil's worries were slightly alleviated. At this point, they were completely convinced by Ningyu. After all, it was very difficult for a peak level 9 alchemist brought by Shield to even reach this step. Please don't let any problems occur. Bai Shield was highly focused. He didn't want any problems to occur now. However, under everyone's gazes, Ningyu didn't form the pill. Half an hour passed and Ningyu still hadn't formed the pill. An hour passed and Ningyu still hadn't formed the pill. What the hell is he doing? It's best if the soul-luring pill is formed in half an hour. Why is Ningyu still dragging it out? Bai Shield's expression was very ugly. If not for the Palace Master Hua and the others, he would have already cursed it out loud. As for the others, they also had ugly expressions. An hour had passed and he still hadn't formed the pill. Could something have gone wrong? Grandmaster Xingyun, have you really recovered? Ningyu didn't care about the changes in Bai Shield and the others' expressions. At this moment, his attention was completely focused on the Yuzuan Pagoda. Grandmaster Xingyun had said that it would take 3 hours for him to completely recover. Who would have thought that only 2.5 hours had passed and Grandmaster Xingyun had completely recovered? This news was especially timely for Ningyu, because if this dragged on, even he didn't have 100% confidence in forming the pill. That's right. When you need my help, don't stand on ceremony with me. Grandmaster Xingyun nodded and said, with my current strength, if you hand over a portion of the Yuzuan Pagoda's control to me, I can even fight against an early-stage Sky Supreme. Grandmaster Xingyun was very confident. Although his injuries were very serious not long ago, he had recovered in the Yuzuan Pagoda. In the beginning, he had been recovering in the 9th floor of the Yuzuan Pagoda with Jin Yi's help. After that, he went to the 8th floor of the Yuzuan Pagoda and cultivated alone. Almost every once in a while, Grandmaster Xingyun would go to the 9th floor of the Yuzuan Pagoda. During this period of time, Jin Yi almost died of anger. Not only did she want to heal Grandmaster Xingyun, she also wanted to help him cultivate. Although she was unwilling, for the sake of survival, Jin Yi did not resist. After several hours of recovery, not only did Grandmaster Xingyun's soul energy return to its peak state, his cultivation had also improved, reaching the terrifying 8th grade Earth Sovereign realm. It was even a level higher than Jin Yi. One must know that Jin Yi was only a 7th grade Earth Sovereign. Truly, comparing oneself to others was infuriating. I won't be polite with you. I'm going to form the pill now. Taking a deep breath, Ningyu suddenly patted the Nihility pellet furnace with his right hand, wanting to form the pill. Wait. Before Ningyu's hand could touch the Nihility pellet furnace, Grandmaster Xingyun said, if I'm not wrong, you're refining the soul-luring pellet, and the pellet in the furnace has some special impurities. Let me help you get rid of them. As he spoke, Grandmaster Xingyun separated a portion of his soul energy and sent it into the Nihility pellet furnace. Chapter 1448. Chapter 1448. Ready, everything is under your control? Hearing Ningyu's words, Master Xingyun was briefly stunned before he retracted his soul force from the Nihility pellet furnace. Since Master Xingyun's soul force had reached the level of turning liquid into a pellet, his actions weren't noticed by Bai Dun and the rest. That's right. Everything is under my control. Ningyu nodded his head and sent a wisp of his soul force into the Nihility pellet furnace. Crack! A crisp sound rang out. The soul-luring pellet in the Nihility pellet furnace broke into two. Crack! Under Ningyu's powerful soul force and the control of the Nihility pellet furnace, the two halves of the soul-luring pellet furnace underwent an unbelievable change. The two halves of the soul-luring pellet furnace slowly healed. Two soul-luring pellets. Master Xingyun was speechless when he saw the changes of the soul-luring pellet furnace in the Nihility pellet furnace. The soul-luring pellet could be refined like this. Even with his years of experience, he had never heard of a successful pellet splitting into two. Whoosh! Whoosh! In the next instant, Ningyu slapped the pellet furnace and the lid flew up. Two pellets flew out from the Nihility pellet furnace. Ningyu swiftly grabbed the two soul-luring pellets in his hand. Fortunately, I didn't fail. Opening his palm, Ningyu continued, I've finally refined the soul-luring pellet. How is this possible? Seeing the two pellets in Ningyu's hand, Bai Dun and the ninth-grade Earth Sovereign widened their mouths in disbelief. How could he refine two soul-luring pellets? That didn't make sense. Haha, nothing is impossible. Ningyu smiled and turned to Bai Dun. The reason why I could refine two soul-luring pellets is all thanks to City Lord Baian Bai Qi. You're flattering me. It's all thanks to you. Bai Dun's eyes spun, and then he said, since the soul-luring pill has been refined, then in my opinion, we should let the palace master consume it first. Although there were many questions in his heart, Bai Shield did not want to care too much about it at the moment. He was more concerned about when Palatial Lord Centaurea would consume the soul-luring pill. As long as Palatial Lord Centaurea consumed the soul-luring pill, he would be able to use the enhanced white bone powder within the soul-luring pill to control her. Once he controlled the Centaurea Palace Master, he would be able to make Fairy Yunshi hesitate and hand over the Centaurea fan. Of course. Ningyu moved and arrived in front of Palatial Lord Centaurea. After handing the two soul-luring pills to Palatial Lord Centaurea, Ningyu lowered his voice and said, consume the second pill. Don't make a sound. Ningyu's voice was very soft, so soft that only Palatial Lord Centaurea could hear it. Ningyu's words stunned the Centaurea Palace Master, and she was a little confused. Even though she was very puzzled, she still chose to believe Ningyu. After all, it would be impossible for her to obtain the soul-luring pill without Ningyu, let alone cultivate the soul-luring technique. Crack! Palatial Lord Centaurea seemed very composed on the surface as she picked up the second soul-luring pill and tossed it into her mouth. Unrelated people, move aside. I'm going to teach Palatial Lord Centaurea the soul-luring technique. When he saw Palatial Lord Centaurea consume the soul-luring pill without any hesitation, Ningyu said in a low voice, Senior Yunshi, please seal the space around me and Palatial Lord Centaurea. No one is allowed to approach us without my permission. Fairy Yunshi didn't move, and she moved her gaze towards Palatial Lord Centaurea to seek her opinion. Palatial Lord Centaurea nodded and said, Ningyu's opinion is my opinion. Understood. Since Palatial Lord Centaurea had spoken, then Fairy Yunshi didn't hesitate any longer. She withdrew the Centaurea fan and surrounded Ningyu and Palatial Lord Centaurea. What should we do? Seeing Fairy Yunshi using the Centaurea fan to surround Ningyu and Palatial Lord Centaurea, the ninth-grade Earth Sovereign's face was a little unsightly. Truth be told, it was practically impossible for him and Bai Shield to break through the Centaurea fan's defenses. Their trump card was to control Palatial Lord Centaurea and order Fairy Yunshi. But the current situation was a little out of their expectations. Wait. Bai Shield's words were concise and comprehensive. There was only one word, and that was to wait. Just a moment ago, Byshield tried to use the white bone demonic powder in the palatial Lord Centauria's body. But no matter how hard he tried, he couldn't use it. Byshield felt that this was the doing of the Centauria fan. The Centauria fan had sealed the space around Ningyu and palatial Lord Centauria, so he couldn't use the white bone demonic powder. How long do we have to wait? The 9th grade Earth Sovereign was a little anxious. I don't know, either. At the very least, we have to wait for the palatial Lord Centauria to learn the soul attraction art. Byshield shook his head. That works too. If we control the palatial Lord Centauria now, Ningyu might not impart the soul attraction art to her. We can only control her after she learns the soul attraction art. We might even have a chance to obtain the cultivation method of the soul attraction art. The 9th grade Earth Sovereign was a little excited. If this situation continued, there was a 90% chance that they could control the palatial Lord Centauria fan. Drip, drip. Time continued to flow. In the sealed region, Ningyu told the palatial Lord the cultivation method of the soul attraction art and even helped the palatial Lord Centauria fan practice it. With the palatial Lord Centauria fan's comprehension ability, it wasn't too difficult to practice the soul attraction art. In just 4 to 5 hours, she had already succeeded in learning the soul attraction art. This cultivation speed wasn't inferior to Ningyu in his previous life. I'm very sorry for what Ningyu and Lu Wei have experienced. After learning the soul attraction art, the palatial Lord Centauria fan took a deep breath and explained to Ningyu, the peerless killing array in Giant Shield City is controlled by Dun. Even as the palatial Lord of the palatial Lord Centauria fan, I'm still affected by Dun. After all, I'm only a wisp of my soul. Ningyu didn't say anything. Seeing that Ningyu wasn't speaking, the palatial Lord Centauria fan continued, it was only when Fairy Yun Shi and Demon Sage arrived that my authority in Giant Shield City increased. Since you haven't appeared for a long time, and I don't have much time left, I listened to Dun's suggestion and got Grandmaster Zhao to refine the soul attraction pill. Grandmaster Zhao? Ningyu was puzzled. That's right. Zhao Huan, Grandmaster Zhao. The palatial Lord Centauria fan nodded. I don't care if he's Zhao Huan or Go Huan. I only have one request. Ningyu shrugged and continued, Dun and Zhao Huan must die. This, hearing Ningyu's words, the palatial Lord Centauria fan was a little awkward. With Fairy Yun Shi and Demon Sage strength, they might be able to kill Dun and Zhao Huan with the 100 Flowers fan. However, the palatial Lord Centauria fan didn't want to be enemies with Dun and Zhao Huan. After all, any pinnacle 9th grade Earth Sovereign was extremely important to Giant Shield City. There's something that I haven't told you. I've refined 2 soul attraction pills, and there's a problem with the first one. As for why there's a problem with the soul attraction pill, I believe you don't need me to tell you, right? Chapter 1449. Chapter 1449. Chapter 1449 To strike suddenly its white shield and the others. Palatial Lord Centauria's expression was extremely ugly. Ningyu had already put it this way. No matter how stupid she was, she could guess the reason. Just now, Dun's soul power had entered the nothingness pill furnace, and Bai Qi had helped him fuse the medicinal liquid. The problem with the soul-luring pill was definitely Byshield's doing. You are very smart. Ningyu nodded and said, now is the best time to kill Dun and Zhao Huan. If we miss this opportunity, there won't be another one. But, Palatial Lord Centauria said hesitantly. To be honest, Palatial Lord Centauria knew very well that attacking Byshield and Zhao Huan in this space was the best choice. That's because the 100 Flowers fan could be unleashed in this space. With Byshield's cultivation at the pinnacle 9th grade Earth Sovereign Realm and Zhao Huan's spiritual energy, it wouldn't be difficult for him to leave. I've told you what I want to say. As for whether you're willing to help or not, it has nothing to do with me. Ningyu shrugged, and then he said in a clear voice, Senior Yunshi, please open up space. The palace mistress of the Flower Palace has already cultivated the soul guidance technique successfully. Voila! With a flick of her wrist, the seal around Ningyu and the palatial Lord Centauria completely vanished. Seeing the barrier disappear, Byshield's heart stirred, and he hurriedly activated the white bone demonic powder in the 100 Flowers Palace Master's body. Ningyu, the first soul luring pill has changed. Just as White Shield activated the White Bone Fiend powder, Palatial Lady Centuria's first soul luring pill began to buzz. That's very normal. White Shield has already begun to activate the White Bone demonic powder within the soul luring pill. If you don't want to expose yourself, it would be best for you to pretend to have fallen for his trap. Ningyu was not surprised. Ever since he found out that the soul luring pill contained White Bone demonic powder, he was very clear about By Shield's ambitions. Previously, with the restriction of the barrier, White Shield was unable to contact the White Bone demonic powder. Now that the barrier was broken, White Shield would definitely contact the White Bone demonic powder immediately. Poochie. The palace master's expression was gloomy and indeterminate. In the end, she suddenly spat out a mouthful of scarlet red blood while her countenance turned slightly pale. Success. Bai Dun and Zhao Huan exchanged a glance when they saw the palatial mistress spit out a mouthful of blood. They could see the excitement in each other's eyes. Palace Master Bai Hua, you've already been hit by the strengthened version of White Bone Devil Powder. If you don't want to die, you'd better obediently order Fairy Yun Shi to hand over the 100-flower fan. Bai Shield sent a spiritual message to Palatial Lord 100 Flowers. After all, the 100-flower fan was in Fairy Yun Shi's hands. Before obtaining the 100-flower fan, Bai Shield did not want to fall out with Fairy Yun Shi. How did you do it? Are you with Ningyu? Palatial Lord Centaurea was very good at acting. She said in surprise, you clearly have a grudge with Ningyu. Lu Wei and company are currently in a very bad situation. How can Ningyu be with you? I got it. Bai Qi must have reached some kind of agreement with Ningyu when he was walking towards Ningyu. You're so cruel. Palatial Lord Centaurea's words left Bai Shield dumbfounded. What the hell was going on? How could he have reached an agreement with Ningyu? Wait. Bai Shield's heart stirred. Since Palatial Lord Centaurea thought that he was with Ningyu, he might as well beat her at her own game and get Fairy Yun Shi to hand the 100-flower fan to Ningyu. Fairy Yun Shi was not easy to deceive. If Fairy Yun Shi suddenly handed the 100-flower fan to Palatial Lord Centaurea, she would definitely be suspicious. If she handed the 100-flower fan to Ningyu, she might not be so suspicious. Get Fairy Yun Shi to hand the 100-flower fan to Ningyu, then get Ningyu to hand the 100-flower fan to Bai Qi. Bai Shield sent a voice transmission to Palatial Lord Centaurea. This is the only way I won't cripple your soul force. Otherwise, you should know the consequences. Palatial Lord Centaurea's expression was gloomy. She wanted Fairy Yun Shi to make a move against Bai Shield, but she was worried that she couldn't kill Bai Shield and give him a chance to escape. For a moment, the Palatial Lord Centaurea was in a dilemma. Agree to it. Suddenly, Ningyu's voice resounded in the Palatial Lord Centaurea's ears. Hearing Ningyu's words, the Palatial Lord Centaurea was briefly stunned before she replied, How did you know about my conversation with Bai Shield? The Palatial Lord Centaurea was baffled. Bai Shield's conversation with her was through spiritual voice transmission. Bai Shield was a pinnacle 9th grade Earth Sovereign, so how could Ningyu eavesdrop on his conversation? Don't worry about that. As long as you do as I say, there's a high chance that you can kill Bai Shield. Ningyu said, not wanting to waste any more time with the Palatial Lord Centaurea. No matter how powerful Bai Shield was, his soul force couldn't be compared to Grandmaster Xingyun. If Bai Shield concealed himself, then it would be hard for Grandmaster Xingyun to discover his conversation with the Palatial Lord Centaurea. However, Bai Shield did not conceal himself, since he didn't believe that anyone in this space could discover his conversation with the Palatial Lord Centaurea. No problem. The palace master gritted her teeth, and then she said in a clear voice, Fairy Yun Shi, I'm going to execute the soul guidance technique now. Pass the 100-flower fan to Ningyu and ask him to stand on guard for me. You want Ningyu to protect you? Fairy Yun Shi was briefly stunned before she asked. That's right. Only Ningyu knows about the soul attraction art, so he can only be the one to protect me. The Palatial Lord Centaurea nodded her head and continued, Ningyu is only an 8th grade Earth Sovereign, so he can ensure that nothing goes wrong with the 100 Flowers fan. All right. Although Fairy Yun Shi was a little doubtful, she couldn't afford to overthink the current situation. With a flick of her wrist, Fairy Yun she tossed the 100 flowers fan to Ningyu. Grandmaster Xingyun, watch my eyes and think of a way to cut off the connection between the 100 flowers fan and Fairy Yun Shi. Grabbing onto the 100 flowers fan, Ningyu walked towards the palatial Lord Centaurea. Rustle. At the same time, Zhao Huan and Bai Qi also moved towards the palatial Lord Centaurea. Zhao Huan and Bai Qi's actions made Fairy Yun Shi frown her brows. She vaguely felt that something was amiss. However, she could still contact the 100 flowers fan. If there were any changes in the situation, she would immediately retrieve the 100 flowers fan. Grandmaster Xingyun, how confident are you in capturing Zhao Huan if I let you fight? Looking at Zhao Huan and Bai Qi approaching him, Ningyu contacted Grandmaster Xingyun 100%. Grandmaster Xingyun, who had recovered to his peak state, was very confident. After all, he was already an 8th grade Earth Sovereign. Coupled with the strength of his liquefaction pellet, there shouldn't be any problems facing Zhao Huan. Alright, when Bai Qi and Fairy Yun Shi take another 3 steps, cut off the connection between the 100 flowers fan and Fairy Yun Shi, and control Zhao Huan. Leave Bai Qi to me. Ningyu gripped the 100 flowers fan tightly and said in a deep voice. Boom. 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 1 step, 2 steps, 3 steps. When Bai Qi took his 3rd step, Grandmaster Xingyun suddenly appeared from the Tower of Ascension. He first cut off the connection between Fairy Yun Shi and the 100 flowers fan, then his right hand suddenly enlarged and grabbed towards Zhao Huan. Chapter 1450. All-round advantage. Shit. Zhao Huan sensed that something was amiss the moment Master Xingyun emerged from the Tower of Yuzuan. He didn't think too much about it. He immediately turned around and flew toward the white shield. Zhao Huan was no fool. Although he couldn't see his opponent's face, he knew that his opponent's soul power had reached the level of liquefaction. His soul power had reached the level of liquefaction, and his cultivation was at the level of a grade 8 Earth Supreme. This level of strength was enough to fight against an ordinary Sky Supreme. Zhao Huan was only a grade 9 Earth Supreme, and his soul power had only reached the level of liquefaction. He would be courting death if he fought with his opponent. Bang! However, Zhao Huan wasn't as fast as Master Xingyun. Before he could take a few steps back, his shoulder was grabbed by Grandmaster Xingyun's huge palm. He was forcefully thrown to the other side and crashed heavily on the ground. Fart! Zhao Huan spat out a mouthful of blood. His expression was extremely ugly. Who are you? Zhao Huan wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth and stared at the illusory figure in front of him. This is our giant shield city's matter. Why are you interfering? Since Master Xingyun had concealed his face, Zhao Huan didn't know who he was. Noisy. Master Xingyun's goal was to kill Zhao Huan, not to talk nonsense with him. As he shouted, Grandmaster Xingyun unleashed his terrifying soul power. It tore through the void and arrived before Zhao Huan in the blink of an eye, piercing towards her sea of consciousness. By shield, save me! Zhao Huan screamed hysterically at the critical moment. Their soul powers weren't on the same level. Zhao Huan would definitely lose if they fought head-on. Only with Bai Shield's help could Zhao Huan have a chance at survival. Otherwise, he would definitely die. Hold on a little longer. Bai Shield didn't have time to care about Zhao Huan. His attention was completely focused on the battle between Bai Qi and Ningyu. Ningyu had the 100 flower fan. As long as Bai Qi could get it, it would be worth it even if Zhao Huan was killed. Hold on, my ass. Zhao Huan was so angry that his nose was crooked. He was completely at a disadvantage. At this rate, he could only hold on for 5 minutes at most. He would definitely be killed in 5 minutes. I need to think of a countermeasure. Zhao Huan rolled her eyes. While blocking Master Xingyun's powerful attack, she secretly thought of a countermeasure. Rumble. On another battlefield. Ningyu and Bai Qi fought again. This time, Ningyu did not let the sapling help him. After all, be it Fairy Yun Shi, Daoist Mo, Palatial Lord Centaurea, or White Shield, all of them were very powerful. It was unwise to expose the sapling in front of them. With the red demon sword in hand, Ningyu exchanged several blows with Bai Qi. Since he did not have the help of the sapling and his cultivation was much lower than Bai Qi's, Ningyu was at a complete disadvantage. "Give me your 100-flower fan, or I'll let you know that flowers," Bai Qi said coldly. "So much nonsense." Ningyu interrupted Bai Qi and said coldly, "If I can defeat you once, I can defeat you twice, thrice, or even kill you with ease. Ha ha ha." As if he had heard the funniest joke in the world, Bai Qi raised his head and laughed. Shortly after, he changed the topic and eerily said, "An 8th grade middle phase human sovereign like you is something that I can crush with a single hand." The moment the word die was heard, Bai Qi's figure dashed out and appeared next to Ningyu in an instant. He clenched his right hand into a fist and punched towards Ningyu's face with violent Yuan Qi gales. Bai Qi's punch was so powerful that even an ordinary 3rd-grade Earth sovereign might not be able to withstand it. Could Ningyu, who was only an 8th-grade intermediate human sovereign, block it? The answer was obviously no. Ningyu was no fool. With his current strength, it was not wise to fight Bai Qi head-on. "Come out." With a thought, Ningyu tore through the void and disappeared. Whoosh! The Uezuan pagoda suddenly appeared at the place where Ningyu disappeared. Due to Bai Qi's speed, he was unable to stop himself and entered the first level of the Tower of Yuzu. Good. Seeing Bai Qi enter the Tower of Yuzu, Ningyu's lips curled into a smile. "I might not be your opponent outside, but I can easily defeat you in the Tower of Yuzu." However, Ningyu did not have the time to control Bai Qi and quickly retreated with the Tower of Yuzu. That was because Bai Qi had already appeared before him. When Ningyu brought out the Transcendence Pagoda, Bai Shield understood everything. Since Ningyu had the Tower of Yuzu, that meant that the other cultivator was Master Xingyun. "Today is a good day. I can get the 100-flower fan and the Tower of Yuzu." Bai Qi rushed toward Ningyu and said in ecstasy, "The Jin family and the Arch Palace attacked Nebula Academy, but I got there first and took advantage of them." The news of the Jin family and the Arch Palace attacking Nebula Academy had already spread throughout the Pill Formation continent. The main reason Bai Qi did not recognize Master Xingyun immediately was because he thought that Master Xingyun was dead for sure. "Palatial Mistress, get Fairy Yun Shi to help Zhao Huan capture Master Xingyun alive." Bai Qi did not forget to order the Palatial Mistress as he rushed toward Ningyu. "No problem." The Palatial Mistress pretended to be in a difficult position, then gritted her teeth and said, "Fairy Yun Shi, go deal with Master Xingyun. No matter what, you must capture him alive." The Palatial Mistress acting was very good, and Fairy Yun Shi's acting was also very good. In the next instant, Fairy Yun Shi's hands tore through the void, and she dove straight in. After Fairy Yun Shi disappeared, Bai Qi no longer paid attention to her and focused on fighting Ningyu. No matter what, he had to obtain the 100 Flowers fan and the Ascension Pagoda. "Bai Qi, if you dare to touch me, I will definitely kill Bai Qi." Looking at the approaching Bai Qi, Ningyu solemnly said. Ningyu wasn't an indecisive person. As he spoke, he controlled the Ascension Pagoda and started to attack Bai Qi, who was on the first level of the Ascension Pagoda. Without a doubt, Bai Qi was only a 3rd-grade Earth sovereign, so he naturally couldn't resist the powerful pressure of the Ascension Pagoda. A hysterical shriek resounded from Bai Qi's mouth that resounded in this region. "When I brought Bai Qi in, I never thought that he would be able to live." Bai Qi coldly said, "There's something that I might not tell you. There's a terrifying energy in Bai Qi's body. If I can't obtain the Ascension Pagoda, I will destroy it." "You think that I don't know about the terrifying energy in Bai Qi's body?" An arc rose on the corner of Ningyu's lips as he sneered. "You can try to communicate with it and see if you can contact the energy in Bai Qi's body." Hearing Ningyu's words, Bai Qi was briefly stunned before he started to contact the energy in Bai Qi's body. It's not good to be distracted right now. Chapter 1451. Danger. Damn it. The sudden change caused Bai Shield's expression to turn extremely ugly. Everything was originally under his control. Now that Fairy Yun Shi had suddenly appeared and attacked him, it was truly out of his expectations. Cursing inwardly, Bai Shield hurriedly gave up on Ningyu and retreated. "Where do you think you're going?" Seeing that Bai Shield wanted to retreat, Perfected Devil didn't stay idle and attacked Bai Shield from another direction. Fairy Yun Shi attacked Bai Shield from the front while Perfected Devil attacked from the side. Ningyu even returned the 100-flower fan to Fairy Yunxi. Rumble. With the 100-flower fan in hand, Fairy Yunxi displayed extremely terrifying strength, forcing Bai Shield to retreat again and again. Explode. Although Bai Shield was retreating, he still split a portion of his perception to detonate the terrifying energy within Bai Chi's body. Today, we'll perish together. At this point, Bai Shield finally understood everything. Ningyu had already seen through the enhanced version of white bone powder. The soul-luring pill that the palatial lord had consumed did not contain white bone powder. In other words, everything was just his own wishful thinking. He had fallen into a trap long ago. Since that was the case, none of them would have an easy time. What's going on? However, what happened next caused Bai Dun's heart to sink to the bottom of the valley. No matter how he used his secret technique, he couldn't contact Bai Chi or the energy within Bai Chi's body. The Yuzuan pagoda had cut off his connection with Bai Chi. Don't waste your energy. Bai Chi is doing very well in the Yuzuan pagoda. He doesn't need your concern. Ningyu retreated to the palatial lord with the Yuzuan pagoda and said indifferently. Bai Shield raised his head and roared. Things had turned around too quickly, completely out of his expectations. Crack. However, the worst was yet to come. Under Master Xingyun's powerful attack, Zhao Huan didn't last long before being killed on the spot. Zhao Huan's essence spirit couldn't even escape and was killed by Master Xingyun. I'll be back. After Zhao Huan was killed, a cold light flew out from Zhao Huan's corpse and flew into the distance. After leaving behind a ruthless sentence, Leng Mang forcefully tore open the void and escaped quickly. Where are you going? Not long after the cold light flew, Ningyu caught him off guard. It was the same method. The cold flash could not avoid the sneak attack of the Tower of Yuzuan and entered the first floor of the tower. The aura emitted by this cold light is extremely similar to that mysterious expert that trapped me in the Flower Palace. The palace master had a solemn expression as she spoke in a low voice. After all, the palatial mistress had fought the mysterious expert for many years. She was very familiar with the mysterious expert's aura. The true form of the cold light should be some kind of essence soul. Of course, it was not Zhao Huan's primordial spirit. Zhao Huan was merely the host that Cold Ray had chosen. It seems that White Shield is indeed in cahoots with that mysterious expert. Taking a deep breath, the palace master of the 100 Flowers Palace said solemnly, "We want to rush to the core of the peerless killing array as soon as possible. I'm afraid that something unexpected might happen if we delay." "We're going there now." Ningyu slightly knitted his brows as he asked in puzzlement, "We still haven't gained complete control over White Shield. In my view, it's better for us to dig something out of White Shield's head after we've gained control of him. White Shield is a pinnacle 9th grade Earth Sovereign, and his soul energy isn't weak either. It won't be easy to dig anything out of his head." The palace master of the 100 Flowers Palace shook her head. "It's not difficult at all. Don't forget that Grandmaster Xingyun's soul energy has reached the pellet transformation realm." Ningyu shrugged. Ordinary people might not be able to force any information out, but Grandmaster Xingyun was different. With the strength of his soul energy and the fact that he had trapped White Shield, he would definitely know everything in White Shield's mind. Right, how did I forget about Grandmaster Xingyun? The palace master of the 100 Flowers Palace slapped her head before she shifted her gaze to the battlefield. In the battlefield, Grandmaster Xingyun, Fairy Yunxi, and Demon Sage held the absolute advantage. White Shield could only bitterly hold on. If it wasn't for the fact that they wanted to capture White Shield alive, he would have long been killed. How could he possibly hold on until now? What do you guys want? After enduring an attack from Fairy Yunxi, White Shield immediately retreated and said in a solemn voice, "You have two choices. You have two choices. The first is to let go of your mind and let us control your mind. The second is," as she spoke, Fairy Yunxi briefly paused before she continued, "die." Rumble. Along with the word die from Fairy Yunxi's mouth, the temperature in this region instantly dropped to the freezing point. Rustle. The 100 Flowers fan in her hand fluttered and several terrifying gales appeared, enveloping White Shield. Impossible. White Shield's face was cold as he barked, "If you guys continue to force me, I will self-destruct." I'm a pinnacle 9th grade Earth sovereign. You guys should know the consequences if I self-destruct. Even if I die, I'll drag a few of you down with me. White Shield's expression was decisive. At the same time, his body started to swell, as if he was prepared to self-destruct. You won't even have the chance to self-destruct before me. Ever since Fairy Yoon she had used the 100 Flowers fan to trap White Shield, Master Xing Yun had revealed a confident expression. In the next moment, Master Xing Yun's soul force surged out and flew towards White Shield from all directions. Master Xing Yun's soul force had reached the level of liquefaction elixir. Coupled with the fact that White Shield was trapped, Master Xing Yun's soul force instantly arrived around White Shield and entered his body. Sizzle. Sizzle. Under the suppression of Master Xing Yun's powerful soul force, White Shield's body started to shrink. Success. Fairy Yun Shi, Daoist Master Ji Mo, and the others all revealed looks of astonishment when they saw the changes in Bai Shield's body. Both of them wore grave expressions. The strength of liquefaction elixir's soul force was truly terrifying. If I don't use my trump card, I won't be Master Xing Yun's opponent. This was what Fairy Yun Shi thought to herself. Even with Fairy Yun Shi's help, it was enough to show how terrifying Master Xing Yun was to be able to escape from the encirclement of the Jin family and Divine Emperor Palace. PFFFT. After his soul force entered White Shield's body, Master Xing Yun circulated his soul force, causing White Shield to spurt a mouthful of blood. At the same time, Master Xing Yun sealed all of White Shield's meridians so that White Shield couldn't self-destruct. Giant Shield City, aside from Yu and Zhao Huan, there are also a few people from the 100 Flowers City. Seeing that White Shield was restrained, the Palatial Master and Ning Yu quickly came before him. The Palatial Master's expression was grave as she coldly barked, "Tell me, and I can spare your life. Ha ha ha." Chapter 1452. Peerless Killing Array. Even if we become captives, we will subdue you first. Coldly snorting, the Palace Master cupped her fists towards Master Xing Yun. Please take control of Bai Shield and dig out all the information in his mind. The Palace Master had great respect for Master Xing Yun. Firstly, Master Xing Yun's soul energy had reached the level of a pellet, so even if she wasn't trapped, she still wouldn't be his opponent. Secondly, Master Xing Yun had played a crucial role in her successfully breaking free and subduing Bai Shield. It could be said that if it wasn't for Master Xing Yun and Ning Yu, she would definitely be dead. No problem. Master Xing Yun did not speak much. His soul energy had already entered Bai Shield's body and was drilling into Bai Shield's head. Arg! A tearing pain came from his head, causing Bai Shield to shriek like a pig being butchered. The pain was terrifying to the point that even Bai Shield couldn't bear it. Plop! The pain in his head caused Bai Shield's eyes to roll back and he fainted on the spot. Bai Shield is right. 3 hours ago, the entire 100 Flowers City has been mobilized. I believe that they will soon arrive at the city gate. Master Xing Yun slightly knitted his brows as he continued, furthermore, there are at least 30 hidden experts from the 100 Flowers City in the Giant Shield City, and their cultivations are all in the Earth Sovereign Realm. The 100 Flowers City has really launched an attack. The Palace Master was briefly stunned before she said, "Let's not delay any longer. We will head for the Peerless Killing Array's core and think of a way to activate it." Ning Yu took a step forward and said, "Palace Master Centaurea, you should first uncover the 30 hidden experts. Otherwise, if they work together, the consequences would be unimaginable. Leave this matter to Demon Venerable." Palatial Lord Centaurea had long thought of this. As for Fairy Yun Shi and Master Xing Yun, follow me to the Peerless Killing Array. The Peerless Killing Array was the key to resisting the 100 Flowers City's army. The moment the Peerless Killing Array was activated, it would be able to resist the experts of the 100 Flowers City for at least 3 days. It would take at least 3 days for him to use the soul attraction technique. Palatial Lord Centaurea wanted to open the Supreme Killing Array to fend off the experts of Centaurea City and to buy time for herself. There's no time to lose. Let's act as soon as possible. After pondering for a moment, Ning Yu said, "Not only do we have to uncover the 30 hidden experts, but we also have to control the City Lord's mansion. We can't let anyone suspicious escape. Leave it to me." Daoist Master Ji Mo patted his chest and guaranteed, as long as Grandmaster Xingyun can tell me the clues of those 30 experts, I promise I'll make sure nothing goes wrong. How about this? I'll share White Shield's memories. Grandmaster Xingyun's mind moved. In an instant, several soul memories flew out towards Master Ji Mo, Fairy Yun Shi, Palace Mistress Bai Hua, and the others. As for Ning Yu, he had also obtained a set of memories. There is indeed something fishy. Upon seeing the changes in Palatial Lord Centaurea and Fairy Yun Shi's expressions, Ning Yu's heart skipped a beat. Just as he had guessed, Grandmaster Xingyun was still hiding something from them. From the memories that Grandmaster Xingyun had given him, Ning Yu discovered that the core of the Supreme Killing Array was suppressing a supreme treasure. Although he didn't know what the supreme treasure was, Ning Yu knew that it was definitely something extremely precious. Otherwise, with White Shield's status, there was no way he wouldn't know. Are you confident? Ning Yu sent a voice transmission to Grandmaster Xingyun without batting an eyelid. The memories that Grandmaster Xingyun had given Ning Yu were White Shield's complete memories. From the memories, Ning Yu learned that in order to obtain such a supreme treasure, it wasn't enough to just break open the core of the array. After all, White Shield had tried before. With his strength, there was no way he could get close to the supreme treasure. In order to get close to the supreme treasure, one would first need a powerful energy barrier. That was because the place where the supreme treasure was located had a powerful pressure. Warriors with slightly weaker cultivations would be squeezed into powder just by a few steps. It's hard to say. We'll only know when we get to the core of the array. Grandmaster Xingyun said solemnly, if there's no other way, we can let White Shield scout ahead. Good idea. Ning Yu nodded. White Shield was only severely injured, but he wasn't dead. Letting White Shield take the lead could also avoid a lot of unnecessary trouble. Crack. At this moment, Perfected Devil stomped on the ground and tore through the void, burrowing in. After obtaining the identity information of 30 hidden experts, Perfected Devil was 100% confident that he could capture all of them in one fell swoop. Let's go as well. Seeing Perfected Devil leave, Palace Master Bai Hua took a deep breath and said solemnly, the experts from 100 Flower City have already launched an attack. We have to completely control the Supreme Killing Array before they arrive. The current situation was very dangerous and there was no room for hesitation. As soon as she finished speaking, Palace Master Bai Hua's figure flashed and flew out of this space. Let's go. Fairy Yun Shi followed closely behind the 100 Flowers Palace Master. Ning Yu grabbed onto White Shield and chased after her with Grandmaster Xingyun. After leaving this sealed space, Palace Master Bai Hua rushed towards the forbidden area of the City Lord's mansion without stopping. The array core of the Supreme Killing Array was located in the depths of the forbidden area of the City Lord's mansion. Buzz. Buzz. With Fairy Yun Shi and Grandmaster Xingyun leading the way, Ning Yu and Palace Master Bai Hua swiftly reached the depths of the forbidden area. The forbidden area of the City Lord's mansion, outsiders. Just when Ning Yu and Fairy Yun Shi arrived at the depths of the forbidden area, two cultivators took a step forth and blocked their path. The two cultivators were both at the 7th grade Earth Sovereign realm with powerful strength. Noisy. However, the voices of the two 7th grade Earth Sovereigns were abruptly silenced. Grandmaster Xingyun and Fairy Yun Shi had made their moves, and the outcome was unquestionable. The two 7th grade Earth Sovereigns were killed on the spot. From White Shield's memories, Grandmaster Xingyun and the rest understood that the two 7th grade Earth Sovereigns were two of the 30 hidden experts. Grandmaster Xingyun and the rest did not feel any guilt killing the two of them. The array core of the Supreme Killing Array is in this chamber. After dealing with the two 7th grade Earth Sovereigns, Grandmaster Xingyun pointed at the stone door before him and faintly said, "You guys back off. Fairy Yun Shi and I will make a move together to blast the stone door open." Rustle. Rustle. Ning Yu and Palace Master Bai Hua tactfully moved their feet and retreated to the other side. Before the stone door, Fairy Yun Shi held onto the 100 Flowers fan and Grandmaster Xingyun's soul energy slammed against the stone door. Boom. Boom. Two terrifying attacks slammed against the stone door. Crack. Crack. The stone door was hard enough to withstand the two terrifying attacks. It only made a cracking sound and was not blasted open. This stone door is special, there should be a restriction on the back. Fairy Yunshi's face turned grave when she failed to blast open the stone door. In Bai Dun's memory, the last few times Bai Dun had entered this place, he had easily blasted open the stone door without encountering any obstructions. Chapter 1453. Chapter 1453. Chapter 1453. A precious treasure even you can't open the stone door? Palatial Lord Centaurea frowned slightly when she saw Yunshi's expression. She said, "The core of the array is in this secret chamber. If we can't even open the stone door, then there's no way to activate the peerless killing array. There is a way, but it will take time." Fairy Yunshi said, "If Grandmaster Xingyun and I were to forcefully attack the stone door, we would be able to completely blast it open in about 2 to 3 hours. No, it's been too long." The palace master shook her head. In 2 to 3 hours, the army of 100 Flowers City had already reached the city. At that time, it would be too late to blast open the stone door and open the peerless killing formation. Only by breaking the stone door as soon as possible and opening the peerless killing array could they resolve this crisis. "I have an idea, but, at this moment," Master Xingyun said hesitantly. "Grandmaster Nebula, what solution do you have?" "Why don't you tell me directly?" asked Palatial Lady Centaurea. Even if there was hope, it was still not as good as having hope. As long as they could blast open the stone door and open the peerless killing array, everything would be fine. "I need Fairy Yunshi's help," and, at this point, Master Xingyun paused for a moment. His gaze stopped on Ningyu for a moment before he continued, "I didn't break open the stone door normally. I used a spatial node to send me and Ningyu in, because he knew that there was a supreme treasure at the eye of the peerless killing formation. Therefore, Grandmaster Xingyun was careful. He did not mention how to enter the stone chamber in the memories he gave to Fairy Yunshi and Palace Master Centaurea. The opportunity must be left to him and Ningyu. No problem. Fairy Yunshi, go and help." Palatial Lady Centaurea did not care who entered the stone chamber. What she wanted to see was to control the formation eye and open the peerless killing formation. As for whether they could enter the stone chamber or not, she did not care at all. All right. Even though she was a little doubtful, Fairy Yunshi didn't think too much about it. She cupped her fists at Master Xingyun and said, "Please guide me, Master Xingyun." You threw out 4 punches in a row, hitting the 4 corners of the stone door, while I forcibly tore open the void when the stone door shook and entered with Ningyu. Grandmaster Xingyun said solemnly. "All right." Fairy Yunshi didn't waste any words. She clenched her fists and charged forward. Bang! 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 Fairy Yunshi's attack speed was very fast. In almost an instant, she had punched out 4 times. Just as Master Xingyun had said, her 4 punches landed on the 4 corners of the stone door. "Go!" Master Xingyun grabbed Ningyu, then forcefully tore open the void and entered. Buzz! After Grandmaster Xingyun and Ningyu entered the void, the area instantly became quiet. "Palace Master, are you sure they can open the peerless killing array?" For some reason, Fairy Yunshi felt that something was wrong, but she wasn't very clear on what it was. "It should be possible." The palatial mistress nodded. In fact, Palatial Mistress Centaurea also knew that there was something strange about Master Nebula and Ningyu. However, the current situation did not allow her to think too much. If she continued to delay, Ningyu and Master Xingyun might be fine, but she would not be able to hold on. "Sigh, I was heartless to Ningyu." Sighing, Palatial Mistress Centaurea immediately sat down cross-legged and began to rest. Palatial Mistress Centaurea was preparing. As long as she was sure that the peerless killing array was opened, she would immediately use the soul attraction technique. With Fairy Yunshi's protection, she could use the soul attraction technique to ensure that nothing went wrong. Bang! At the same time, in the stone room that was separated from Palatial Mistress Centaurea by a door, Ningyu appeared from the void and slammed heavily onto the ground. "What the F***CK? The moment he opened his eyes, Ningyu couldn't help but curse. Pressure. The terrifying pressure made it hard for Ningyu to breathe. Even though his cultivation had reached the mid-stage of the 8th grade and his soul power was at the peak of the 8th grade, he still found it hard to breathe, and even stand up was extremely difficult. Swish. At this moment, Grandmaster Xingyun appeared from the void. Powerful soul power surged out and formed a protective barrier around Ningyu. Phew. Feeling the pressure disappear, Ningyu let out a sigh of relief. That was close. Fortunately, Grandmaster Xingyun had helped him in time. Otherwise, he might have died here. After the pressure disappeared, Ningyu finally had the time to look around. Is that the core of the peerless killing array? Looking at the huge whirlpool in front of him, Ningyu said with a solemn expression, "The treasure in Bai Dun's memories is in the whirlpool. We have two choices now. First, we can use a large amount of energy to activate the core and open the killing array." Grandmaster Xingyun explained. Second, we can enter the core and see what the treasure in Bai Dun's memories is. It's not wise to activate the core now. After a moment of silence, Ningyu shook his head and said, "I only have less than 70,000 sovereign grade yuan crystals on me. Bai Dun was used to scout for us. If I use up my 70,000 sovereign grade yuan crystals now, it won't be worth it if we encounter danger at the treasure. Alright, let's enter the core first." Grandmaster Xingyun had the same thought as Ningyu. To be honest, he was worried that Ningyu would want to open the core first. Let's go. With the protection of Grandmaster Xingyun's soul power, Ningyu did not hesitate and rushed into the whirlpool. Seeing Ningyu enter the whirlpool, Grandmaster Xingyun did not stay idle. He leaped and followed Ningyu into the whirlpool. Crack, crack, crack. As soon as he entered the whirlpool, Ningyu's body was squeezed to the point that it was a little distorted. Inside the whirlpool, the protection of Grandmaster Xingyun's soul power was very weak. The reason why Ningyu could last until now was because of the law of space and the sapling. Grandmaster Xingyun. Ningyu used his perception and began to contact Grandmaster Xingyun. "I'm here." However, as soon as Ningyu used his perception, he immediately cursed. He discovered that his perception could not go far from his body. After advancing a few meters, he was completely unable to move forward. His perception could not move forward, which meant that Ningyu could not contact Grandmaster Xingyun. "Looks like I can only slowly move towards the deepest part of the whirlpool." Ningyu retracted his perception and his expression became extremely solemn. Without Grandmaster Xingyun's help, it would be extremely difficult for him to reach the deepest part of the whirlpool and find the treasure in Bai Dun's memories. However, even though it was difficult, Ningyu did not want to waste this good opportunity. In any case, the sapling and the law of space could still hold on. Every step forward was a step forward. "Ningyu, hurry, hurry." Before Ningyu could take a few steps forward, the Dark Emperor in the storage ring let out an anxious voice. Hearing this, Ningyu was startled and asked, "What's going on? Do you know what the treasure is?" "Nonsense, of course I know what that treasure is." Chapter 1454. Great Tyrant speak in human language, no, dog language. Ningyu rolled his eyes. "Just what is that treasure?" "What? You're eyeing that treasure?" The Dark Emperor stared at Ningyu warily and said, "I'll tell you the truth. That treasure belongs to the Sky-Devouring Hound clan. Even if you obtain it, it won't be of much use to you." "Is that so?" Ningyu's brows twitched, and then he stopped on the spot and didn't continue forward. From the Dark Emperor's expression, Ningyu could tell that the treasure in the depths was special, and it wouldn't be an exaggeration to describe it as extremely precious. Otherwise, with the Dark Emperor's character, he wouldn't be so anxious. All right, I'll tell you." Seeing Ningyu's actions, the Dark Emperor had no choice but to compromise. The treasure in the depths is the Sky-Devouring Scepter, the supreme treasure of the Sky-Devouring Hound clan. Sky-Devouring Scepter? Hearing that, Ningyu was briefly stunned before he asked, could it be the third supreme treasure of the Sky-Devouring Hound clan, the Sky-Devouring Scepter? "That's right." The Dark Emperor nodded. "It is indeed the Sky-Devouring Scepter." Thereafter, the Dark Emperor immediately added, "Since you know about the Sky-Devouring Scepter, then you should know that only the Sky-Devouring Hound can use it. Let's go, I want to see what's so special about the Sky-Devouring Scepter." Ningyu didn't waste any more words. He walked towards the deepest part of the vortex step by step. In his previous life, even as a heavenly sovereign, Ningyu had never seen the sky-devouring scepter. It was rumored that the reason why the sky-devouring hound clan could stand on equal footing with the true dragon was due to their 3 supreme treasures. Amongst them, the third-ranked sky-devouring scepter played a crucial role. In ancient times, the emperor of the sky-devouring hound clan wielded the sky-devouring scepter and fought with the true dragon. Ever since that battle, the sky-devouring hound clan became famous, and the sky-devouring scepter's reputation also blossomed during that period. However, with the passage of time, the sky-devouring hound clan disappeared in the long river of history, and the sky-devouring scepter naturally disappeared without a trace. Ningyu did not expect to hear news of the heaven-devouring scepter here. He even had the chance to obtain it. Ningyu would definitely not give up this opportunity. He took a deep breath and walked toward the deepest part of the vortex while paying attention to the changes in his surroundings. Don't be too anxious. I can sense that something is guarding the heaven-devouring scepter. The Dark Emperor was in the interspatial ring and did not come out. The Dark Emperor was not a stupid dog. With Ningyu's strength, coupled with the help of the sapling and the spatial laws, it would be difficult for him to move an inch in this place. If he were to go out, he would probably be squashed into a meat patty and die on the spot. I want to freaking be anxious, but do you think I can be anxious? Ningyu's face was filled with displeasure. That was the heaven-devouring scepter. Who wouldn't want to go there as soon as possible? However, even with the help of the sapling and the spatial laws, he had no way of speeding up. That was because the pressure in the surroundings was simply too terrifying. It was so terrifying that Ningyu had to stop and rest for a moment after taking 3 steps. Alright then. The Dark Emperor also knew that it was difficult for Ningyu. He seemed to have seen through it and went silent, choosing to keep his mouth shut. Crack crack. In the core of the supreme killing formation, Ningyu moved step by step. Time passed bit by bit. In the blink of an eye, an hour had passed since Ningyu entered the core of the supreme killing formation. In this hour, the pressure on Ningyu was getting greater and greater. In the end, he had no choice but to expend the arch-grade essence crystals rapidly to maintain it. Thankfully, Ningyu had many the arch-grade essence crystals on him. Otherwise, it was unknown if he could survive in his current state. I can sense that I'll be able to see the heaven-devouring scepter in another half an hour. Although it was in the interspatial ring, the Dark Emperor was very sensitive to the heaven-devouring scepter. According to his calculations, he would definitely be able to see the heaven-devouring scepter in another half an hour. Roar. However, right then, something strange happened. A deafening roar sounded from afar. Swash. Accompanied by the roar, a figure bolted over from afar at an extremely terrifying speed. It's the demonic beast guarding the heaven-devouring scepter. The Dark Emperor in the interspatial ring exclaimed when he saw the massive creature that suddenly appeared. Ningyu, think of a way to defeat it. I'll cheer for you. Ningyu's face darkened. I won't say anything if you don't come out to help. But King said that you're cheering for me. If cheering works, what's the point of cultivating? Each time he fought with an enemy, it was not about cultivation or strength, but the number of cheers. Trespassing on the forbidden ground. Before long, the massive creature appeared before Ningyu and opened its mouth, saying coldly, "Kill without mercy." Gigantic tyrant. Ningyu frowned slightly as he looked at the behemoth in front of him. There was some doubt between his brows. The demonic beast was huge and looked extremely similar to the gigantic tyrant. However, there were differences between this demonic beast and the gigantic tyrant. It had a pair of wings on its back that resembled scissors and looked extremely terrifying. Gigantic tyrant. The massive creature's deep voice sounded with a sinister expression. Don't compare a low-level demonic beast like the gigantic tyrant to me. No, I don't care who you are. Anyway, you'll definitely die today for trespassing on the forbidden ground. Swash. As it spoke, the gigantic tyrant opened its mouth once more and spat out a cold beam of light. The cold beam of light was extremely fast and appeared before Ningyu in the blink of an eye. Clang. At that critical moment, Ningyu hurriedly took out the red demon sword and held it in front of him. Ding! The cold beam of light collided with the red demon sword and the immense force sent Ningyu flying dozens of feet away. PFFFT. Fresh blood spurted out from Ningyu's mouth as his face turned extremely pale. How can your strength be so terrifying? Through this move, Ningyu could basically determine the gigantic tyrant's true strength. 4th grade Earth Sovereign. The gigantic tyrant's strength had reached the terrifying 4th grade Earth Sovereign realm. Although it was only a 4th grade Earth Sovereign, the spatial pressure here was terrifying, and the gigantic tyrant wasn't affected at all. Under normal circumstances, it would be hard for Ningyu to defeat a 4th grade Earth Sovereign giant tyrant, not to mention now. I have to think of a way. Ningyu's face was dark. His eyes turned as he tried to think of a countermeasure. The current situation was extremely urgent for him. He definitely wasn't the gigantic tyrant's opponent in a head-on battle. Right now, he could only bring out the Tower of Ascension when it least expected and use the fact that the gigantic tyrant had never seen the Tower of Ascension before to lure it into the Tower of Ascension. Ningyu might not be the gigantic tyrant's opponent outside, but the moment it entered the Tower of Ascension, the gigantic tyrant wouldn't have any chance of winning, no matter how powerful it was. Let's do it this way. The current situation did not allow Ningyu to think too much. As he retreated, he took out the Tower of Ascension and hid it in his sleeve. Chapter 1455. Go deeper. Not bad, you actually managed to survive a move that contained 10% of my strength. You do have some ability. Seeing that Ningyu didn't die on the spot, the colossal tyrant was a little shocked. One must know that it was a 4th grade Earth Sovereign, and even a move that contained 10% of its strength wasn't something that a middle phase 8th grade Earth Sovereign could withstand. The fact that Ningyu was able to block one of his moves without dying was indeed beyond his expectations. But that was all. In the next moment, the colossal tyrant opened its mouth once again and charged towards Ningyu. This time, the giant Tyrannosaurus did not hold back. Its mouth grew larger and larger, and in the end, it became several times larger. You want to devour me? The colossal tyrant's actions had caused Ningyu to be startled in his heart. But at the same time, hope was ignited in Ningyu's heart. It wouldn't be that easy for the colossal tyrant to devour him. When I enter your stomach, I'll enter the Ascension Pagoda and see if you can melt it. Ningyu made up his mind. It was so much so that when the colossal tyrant approached him, he slowly closed his eyes without any intention of resisting. Feigning death. The colossal tyrant wasn't surprised by Ningyu's actions. It opened its mouth and tried to devour Ningyu. After all, in its view, Ningyu would definitely die. A puny middle phase 8th grade Earth Sovereign was simply courting death by barging into this place. However, it was proven that the colossal tyrant was overthinking things. Before its mouth could devour Ningyu, a silhouette tore through space and appeared before it. Not only was that silhouette swift, but it also had a powerful attack. Boom! A fist was thrown out, along with a violent gale, that heavily slammed against the colossal tyrant's head. The massive force caused the colossal tyrant's head to feel dizzy before it was sent flying. Crack, crack, crack. It heavily crashed against the ground, emitting a few crisp sounds. Roar. After being punched in the head, even a few of the bones in its body were broken. The big tyrant raised its head and let out a furious roar. Who are you? Staring at the martial artist standing beside Ningyu, the great tyrant revealed a grave expression. The giant tyrant was not a fool. On the contrary, it was very smart. Ningyu was a pushover, but this martial artist who appeared beside Ningyu was no pushover. 8th grade Earth Sovereign. The cultivator that appeared beside Ningyu was an 8th grade Earth Sovereign. What's going on outside? Why would that trash Zhao Huan let an 8th grade Earth Sovereign enter the array core? The giant tyrant's face was gloomy, and it was secretly thinking of countermeasures. However, Master Xingyun obviously wouldn't give him the chance. First, he separated a wisp of soul power to protect Ningyu in the middle. Then, he walked towards the giant tyrant step by step. Sho. Master Xingyun's speed wasn't fast, but it wasn't slow either. Moreover, as Master Xingyun walked, he exerted his powerful soul power to suppress the giant tyrant. Crack! Under the terrifying soul power of Master Xingyun, the giant tyrant's knees made cracking sounds, and it couldn't help but kneel down. Who are you? Zhao Huan should be in charge of Giant Shield City. How could you come here? The giant tyrant scolded. Zhao Huan. Master Xingyun raised his eyebrows and said, I'm sorry, Zhao Huan has been killed. Not only Zhao Huan, but even Bai Shield has been killed. As he spoke, Master Xingyun looked back at Ningyu. Bang! Ningyu understood and tossed the white shield out of his storage ring. It landed heavily at the feet of the big tyrant. Bai Shield. Seeing the martial artist under its feet, the giant tyrant was slightly stunned. It was a little confused. To be honest, the giant tyrant didn't know Bai Shield. It didn't even take the initiative to contact Bai Shield. Those who contacted it could only be martial artists from 100 Flowers City. Even Bai Shield wasn't qualified. And Zhao Huan happened to be a martial artist from 100 Flowers City. It seems that you don't know Bai Shield. Master Xingyun exerted force with his right hand, and a huge suction force sucked Bai Shield back and threw it to Ningyu's side. Ningyu controlled Bai Shield and threw it back into the storage ring again. Since you don't know Bai Shield, there's no need to keep you here. Master Xingyun said. The reason why Master Xingyun asked Ningyu to throw Bai Shield out was because he wanted to test it. In Bai Shield's memory, there was no mention of the thing inside the vortex. To prevent Bai Shield's memory from being erased, Master Xingyun chose to throw Bai Shield out to test it. Now it seemed that the giant tyrant didn't know Bai Shield, or rather, Bai Shield wasn't qualified to get close to the deepest secrets. Let's go. Seeing that Master Xingyun was distracted, the giant tyrant's eyes burst out a cold light. The wings on its back suddenly flapped, and its figure turned into an afterimage as it flew towards the depths of the vortex. Because it wasn't affected by the pressure in the vortex, the giant tyrant's speed was very fast. It was so fast that even Master Xingyun, who was an 8th grade Earth Sovereign, couldn't catch up. Should we chase after it? Seeing the giant tyrant leaving, Master Xingyun slightly knitted his brows and turned to Ningyu. According to Bai Shield's memory, as long as we can reach the depths of the vortex, we'll be able to find the treasure. The direction that the giant tyrant escaped in is different from the depths of the vortex. Different directions? Master Xingyun's words made Ningyu a little dumbfounded. The giant tyrant was clearly heading towards the depths of the vortex, so why would Master Xingyun say that? Could it be that Master Xingyun was lost? After thinking about it, Ningyu felt that there was only one possibility. Let's chase after the giant tyrant. Ningyu did not explain too much to Grandmaster Xingyun. He pointed at the direction where the giant tyrant escaped and said in a deep voice, We're unfamiliar with this whirlpool. If we let the giant tyrant leave, it's very likely that it'll bring more demonic beasts here. At that time, we'll be trapped in a forbidden land beyond redemption. All right. Master Xingyun didn't think too much about it. He agreed with Ningyu's words. Then, he grabbed Ningyu and chased after the giant tyrant. No matter what, the strength of Master Xingyun's soul energy had reached the level of liquid into core. Under the resistance of his soul energy, Ningyu felt that the pressure around him was gradually decreasing. What's going on? This change was clearly out of Ningyu's expectation. Master Xingyun's soul energy was already so strong, so it didn't make sense for him to feel that the pressure was decreasing. It's the pressure outside that's decreasing. Master Xingyun's expression was extremely grave. Although the pressure had decreased, Master Xingyun's heart was getting more and more worried. There were only two possibilities for the sudden decrease in pressure. First, they had accidentally broken into the depths of the vortex. Second, they had broken into the trap set by the giant tyrant. If it was the first possibility, it would be fine. After all, there was a chance to obtain the treasure. Chapter 1456. Swoosh. Swoosh. The situation seemed to be developing in a bad direction. Just as Grandmaster Xingyun was in a daze, the space around him suddenly split open. Suddenly, a few huge figures appeared. Obviously, the several giant creatures that suddenly appeared were not ordinary demonic beasts. They were the giant tyrant beast. The cultivation of those giant tyrants was not very high. All of them were 4th grade Earth sovereigns. The big Tyrannosaurus at the front was the big Tyrannosaurus that had just fought with Master Xingyun. Ha ha ha. Seeing that Ning Yu and Grandmaster Xingyun had been tricked, the giant Tyrannosaurus at the front raised its head and laughed maniacally. It said sinisterly, "This is our territory. If you dare to barge in, you will die." That giant tyrant was very arrogant. Although Master Xingyun was an 8th grade Earth sovereign, they had a lot of demonic beasts. 1 or 2 of them might not be a match for you, but what about 3? What about 4? What about dozens of them? Of course, under normal circumstances, even dozens of 4th grade Earth sovereigns would not be a match for an 8th grade Earth sovereign. But the situation here was very special. They could control the pressure in this space at will. Ningyu, take a few steps back. Let me deal with these giant tyrants. Master Xingyun's expression was solemn. He pushed Ningyu away and faced the giant tyrants alone. Rumble. The battle broke out in an instant. At first, Master Nebula had an overwhelming advantage and even killed 2 giant tyrants. But as time passed, Master Xingyun found that the pressure around him was getting stronger and stronger. It was so strong that even he was affected. Under this terrifying pressure, he could only display 80% of his strength at his peak. And the most terrifying thing was that the pressure was getting stronger and stronger. At this rate, it would only take half an hour at most for him to only be able to display 10% of his peak strength. Therefore, Master Xingyun did not have much time left. I have to kill them all in half an hour. Master Xingyun secretly made up his mind. No matter what, he would use all his strength to kill all the giant tyrants in half an hour. Whoosh. Grandmaster Xingyun was not the kind of person who only talked and did not practice. With a thought, he released all the soul power in his body. The most powerful thing about Grandmaster Xingyun was not his martial arts strength, but his terrifying soul power. Roar. As a matter of fact, Master Xingyun's soul power was indeed terrifying. After he released his soul power, the great tyrant was at a complete disadvantage. Ningyu, the heaven-devouring scepter, is right behind these giant tyrants. Ningyu could not help Grandmaster Xingyun fight against the giant Tyrannosaurus alone. At this moment, he was communicating with the Dark Sovereign in his storage ring. The Dark Emperor's expression was solemn as he said in a deep voice, "After Grandmaster Xingyun completely kills the big tyrant, we will suddenly rush out and snatch the heaven-devouring scepter." Dark Emperor didn't trust Master Xingyun. He treated Master Xingyun as an enemy. Suddenly rush out. Ningyu said snappily, "If it weren't for the help of the sapling and the law of space, as well as the soul power that Master Nebula left around me, we wouldn't even be qualified to stand here." The Dark Emperor felt a little awkward. He was indeed a little anxious. After all, the heaven-devouring scepter was one of the top 3 treasures of the sky-devouring hound clan, and he did not want anyone else to obtain it. Let's wait a little longer, the situation isn't that simple. Ningyu shook his head and continued, "If I've guessed correctly, these giant tyrants will definitely be killed by Grandmaster Xingyun, and after they die, more demonic beasts will appear." Actually, Ningyu's guess wasn't wrong. The heaven-devouring scepter was a treasure amongst treasures, so there was no reason for it to only be guarded by a few 4th grade Earth sovereign realm demonic beasts. It wouldn't be an exaggeration even if there were heavenly sovereigns guarding such a heaven-defying treasure. Crack. What he wanted came true. Just when Ningyu had this thought in his heart, there was a drastic change in the battlefield not too far away. Grandmaster Xingyun rapidly retreated with a grave expression on his face. Suddenly, an even larger giant Tyrannosaurus appeared in the midst of the giant Tyrannosaurus. This giant Tyrannosaurus that was several times bigger opened its mouth and devoured the other giant Tyrannosaurus. Crack, crack. The sound of bones shattering resounded from the giant Tyrannosaurus mouth, looking extremely eerie. "Humans, you guys have great courage to come here. Not bad, not bad." Casually spitting out the bones, the giant Tyrannosaurus faintly said, "I'm about to leave this space, and I'm lacking 2 guides. You guys can be my slaves. Be careful." Grandmaster Xingyun and Ningyu did not reply to the giant Tyrannosaurus. It was so much so that they even looked as if they were facing a great enemy. Grandmaster Xingyun said in a low voice, "Enter the pagoda of Yuzuan later and hand the control over the pagoda to me. I'll deal with this giant Tyrannosaurus." "How confident are you?" Ningyu asked. 50%. Grandmaster Xingyun replied. The giant Tyrannosaurus cultivation was at the 9th grade Earth Sovereign Realm, which was extremely terrifying. Facing it head-on and under the terrifying pressure, Grandmaster Xingyun only had a 30% chance of winning. He could only achieve 50% by controlling the pagoda of Yuzuan. "You guys don't seem to want to be my slaves." Letting out a sigh, the giant Tyrannosaurus opened its mouth and a massive scepter appeared. Sky-devouring scepter. The moment he saw the scepter, Ningyu realized that the scepter that the big tyrant spat out was the heaven-devouring scepter. "Oh, you're pretty knowledgeable. It's a pity that there's no prize." Holding on to the sky-devouring scepter, the giant Tyrannosaurus continued, "You guys have two choices now. Submit to me and tell me about the outside world, or die. Make your choice." "Ningyu, find a way to get close to the giant Tyrannosaurus. I have a way to snatch the sky-devouring scepter." The Dark Emperor's solemn voice resounded in Ningyu's ears. Hearing that, Ningyu was briefly stunned. "Are you sure?" "I'm sure. The Sky-Devouring Scepter is the treasure of the Sky-Devouring Hound Clan, and I'm the Emperor of the Sky-Devouring Hound Clan. I'm 90% confident that I can snatch it," the Dark Emperor said. "All right, I believe you." At this moment, Ningyu and the rest had no other choice. If the giant Tyrannosaurus didn't have the sky-devouring scepter, Grandmaster Xingyun still had a 50% chance of winning with the pagoda of Yuzuan. However, the giant Tyrannosaurus had the sky-devouring scepter. Even if Grandmaster Xingyun controlled the pagoda of Yuzuan, he wouldn't even have a 10% chance of winning. Rather than risking a 10% chance of winning, it was better to let the Dark Emperor give it a try. After all, the Dark Emperor was the Emperor of the Sky-Devouring Hound Clan, so he had a 90% chance of snatching the sky-devouring scepter. "We choose to submit to you." Chapter 1457. 3 minutes. Year 20 of the Heavenly Demon Calendar. The giant tyrant frowned slightly when it heard Ningyu's words. No one knew what it was thinking. Since the giant tyrant did not speak, Ningyu stopped moving forward and stood on the spot. For a moment, the place fell silent. Drip, drip. Time continued to pass. In the blink of an eye, half an hour had passed. Roar. The giant tyrant suddenly raised its head and roared. It then pointed at Ningyu and said, "Come here and open your mind. I'm going to inspect your memories." Ningyu's heart skipped a beat when he heard that. He knew things were not going well. Given the giant tyrant's strength, he would definitely be controlled if he opened his mind. However, the current situation did not allow Ningyu to overthink. He could either take a gamble or escape immediately. Without thinking too much, Ningyu moved his feet and walked toward the giant tyrant again. 3 more steps. As Ningyu moved forward, the Dark Emperor in the storage ring said in a deep voice with a solemn expression, "Thud, thud." Every step that Ningyu took landed heavily on the ground, producing a loud thud. 2 steps. The Dark Emperor silently counted every step that Ningyu took. 1 step. When Ningyu's final stomp landed, a terrifying light burst forth from the Dark Emperor's eyes. He abruptly sprang out from his storage ring and charged toward the giant tyrant at an extremely terrifying speed. "Ningyu, back off." The Dark Emperor transmitted his voice to Ningyu as he charged toward the giant tyrant. "Let's go." Ningyu was not an indecisive person. With a flash, he retreated backward. However, Ningyu was cautious and did not retreat too far. This distance was just enough for him to receive the Dark Emperor. Although the Dark Emperor had a 90% chance of seizing the heaven-devouring scepter, who could guarantee that the last 10% wouldn't fail? Therefore, Ningyu did not retreat too far. At this distance, he could open the Tower of Ascension and bring the Dark Emperor back. Purple gold sky-devouring hound. Looking at the approaching Dark Emperor, the giant tyrant's expression turned grave. After all, the heaven-devouring scepter was the ultimate treasure of the heaven-devouring hound clan. Therefore, It was not an exaggeration for the giant tyrant to recognize the Dark Emperor as a heaven-devouring hound. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. It was fine if the Dark Emperor did not make a move, but the moment he did, he used his trump card. He forced out 3 drops of blood essence and charged toward the giant tyrant from 3 different directions. Go! After the 3 drops of blood essence flew out, the Dark Emperor opened his mouth and spat out another fist-sized cold light. I can't believe it. The Dark Emperor's actions caused Ningyu to curse. The cold gleam that was the size of a fist was not an offensive technique, but the Dark Emperor's blood essence. How much blood essence did the Dark Emperor have in total? In order to control the heaven-devouring scepter, he had forced out so much blood essence. It could be said that the Dark Emperor had put himself in a desperate situation to survive. It was either succeed or die trying. Child's play. Clearly, the giant tyrant did not realize that the cold gleam was the Dark Emperor's blood essence. Holding the heaven-devouring scepter, he said proudly, I would like to see how capable you are to fight me. He, using the heaven-devouring scepter to kill the heaven-devouring hound. Just thinking about it makes me excited. After laughing sinisterly, the giant tyrant threw the heaven-devouring hound out. Its target was the fist-sized blood essence of the Dark Emperor. Almost instantly, the heaven-devouring scepter came into contact with the Dark Emperor's blood essence. When the two collided, what the giant tyrant expected did not happen. Kai, 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 Kai. The Dark Emperor's blood essence wrapped around the heaven-devouring scepter and drilled into it desperately. Oh no! The sudden change was obviously out of the giant tyrant's expectation. In the next moment, the giant tyrant quickly communicated with the heaven-devouring scepter, wanting to retrieve it. It's too late to react now. The corner of the Dark Emperor's lips rose as he swung his tail towards the giant tyrant. The Dark Emperor was excited. As long as he could hold on for a few more minutes, he would be able to gain control of the heaven-devouring scepter. Thus, the Dark Emperor yelled out as he attacked the giant tyrant. Ningyu, Master Xingyun, come out quickly. No matter what, you have to stop the giant tyrant for 3 minutes. Don't let it get close to the heaven-devouring scepter. The Dark Emperor's words caused the faces of Ningyu and Master Xingyun to drastically change. After exchanging a look, Ningyu and Master Xingyun immediately charged out. Master Xingyun fought the giant tyrant head-on, while Ningyu waited for an opportunity from the side. After all, the giant tyrant was a 9th-grade Earth Sovereign. Without absolute confidence, Ningyu did not want to take the risk. Rumble. The Dark Emperor wasn't a match for the giant tyrant. It was so much so that the giant tyrant could kill him with a flip of its hand. However, Master Xingyun was different. He was an 8th-grade Earth Sovereign with a powerful soul core. With the addition of Master Xingyun, the pressure on the Dark Emperor instantly disappeared. Thanks. After cupping his fists towards Master Xingyun, the Dark Emperor flew towards the heaven-devouring scepter. The heaven-devouring scepter was hard to control. If he only relied on the Dark Emperor's blood essence, he would probably need 3 minutes to fully control it. Judging from Master Xingyun's situation, it was unknown if he could even last 3 minutes. Thus, the Dark Emperor had to find another opportunity to execute the secret technique of the Sky-Devouring Dog Clan to control the Heaven-Devouring Scepter. PFFFT. Reality had proven that Master Xingyun wasn't a match for the giant tyrant. In just a minute, Master Xingyun was already spewing blood from his mouth with his face turning pale. I've changed my mind. I don't want you to be my slave, I want to devour you alive. The giant tyrant fixed its gaze on Master Xingyun as it continued, I can sense that as long as I devour you alive, there's a high chance that I will reach the quasi-heavenly sovereign realm. If you're sensible, then stay where you are. Otherwise, I'll let you die a horrible death. As it spoke, the giant tyrant moved towards Master Xingyun. Crack, crack. In the process of advancing, the giant Tyrannosaurus concentrated all the pressure in this area on Master Xingyun. The massive pressure caused Master Xingyun's knees to creak and he couldn't help falling to his knees. 1 minute left. Master Xingyun was calculating the time. There was only 1 minute left from the 3 minutes that the Dark Emperor had mentioned. As long as the Dark Emperor could control the heaven-devouring scepter, he would immediately get Ningyu to open the Ascension Pagoda and take refuge. Since this was the core of the peerless killing array, it wouldn't matter even if the giant tyrant took the Ascension Pagoda away. When he recovered to his peak state, he would be able to appear from the Ascension Pagoda and deal a fatal blow to the giant tyrant. Success! Suddenly, the Dark Emperor yelled from afar. Although he said that he needed 3 minutes, that wasn't the case. The Dark Emperor executed a secret technique to gain control of the heaven-devouring scepter in 2 minutes. PFFFT. Chapter 1458. Chapter 1458. Beast Core. How is this possible? The giant Tyrannosaurus would never have thought that the black dog would seize control of the heaven-devouring scepter in just 2 minutes. One must know that he had left a mark on the heaven-devouring scepter. That black dog was only a human sovereign. The colossal tyrant had the urge to vomit blood. A human sovereign actually erased the mark he left in the devouring scepter. If someone said this to him previously, he would probably call that person a fool. But this kind of thing really happened. What was terrifying was that the devouring scepter no longer belonged to him. Phew. Seeing that the Dark Emperor had taken control of the devouring scepter, Master Xingyun let out a long sigh of relief. The reason why Master Xingyun had such an expression was because the immense pressure around him had disappeared in an instant. The disappearance of the pressure meant that Master Xingyun's fighting strength had returned to its peak. In other words, Master Xingyun was fearless against the colossal tyrant again and could easily win. After all, the colossal tyrant was only a 9th grade Earth Supreme, not a half-heaven Supreme. Nothing is impossible. The Dark Emperor wrapped the devouring scepter with his tail and walked towards the colossal tyrant. A moment later, the Dark Emperor arrived before the colossal tyrant. You have 2 choices. The Dark Emperor didn't beat around the bush at all. He went straight to the point and said, "First, become my slave. Second, die." Roar. Hearing the Dark Emperor's words, the great tyrant raised its head and roared furiously. The colossal tyrant wanted to devour the Dark Emperor, but it had a lingering fear. To control the devouring scepter, it had forcefully extracted its beast core from its body and inserted it into the devouring scepter. Now that the devouring scepter was in the Dark Emperor's hands, its strength would instantly fall to rock bottom if the Dark Emperor destroyed its beast core. At that time, it might even die without a burial. What? Do you want to die? The Dark Emperor raised his brows. Since you want to die, I'll fulfill your wish. No, no. The giant tyrant hurriedly said, I'm willing to become your slave and listen to your orders. Are you sure? The Dark Emperor was uncertain. No matter what, the giant tyrant was a 9th grade Earth Sovereign, and a peak 9th grade Earth Sovereign at that. In the Dark Emperor's opinion, if he wanted to control the big tyrant, he would definitely have to go through a lot of trouble. Who would have thought that the giant tyrant would be so spineless? Yes. The giant tyrant nodded hurriedly, fearing that the Dark Emperor would go back on his words. All right, then relax your mind. Although the Dark Emperor didn't really trust the colossal tyrant, he had to give it a chance since the colossal tyrant had put it this way. Bang! The giant tyrant suddenly sat upright on the ground and slowly relaxed its mind. Grandmaster Xingyun, be careful later. If the giant tyrant dares to do anything out of line, kill it immediately. Like the Dark Emperor, Ningyu did not trust the great tyrant either. Therefore, Ningyu secretly contacted Master Xingyun and asked him to monitor the giant tyrant. In its current state, the great Tyrannosaurus was no match for Master Nebula. Now, as expected, the colossal tyrant did not have any good intentions. Just as the Dark Emperor approached it, it suddenly opened its bloody mouth, wanting to swallow the Dark Emperor into its stomach. The colossal tyrant's idea was very simple. The heaven-devouring scepter contained its beast core, and the heaven-devouring scepter was in the hands of the Dark Emperor. As long as it swallowed the Dark Emperor and the heaven-devouring scepter together, not only would the beast core be safe, it would also be able to regain control of the heaven-devouring scepter. However, the ideal was very rich, but the reality was very harsh. Just as the colossal tyrant opened its bloody mouth, The Dark Emperor turned into an afterimage and disappeared. The Dark Emperor disappeared, but Grandmaster Xingyun appeared in front of the colossal tyrant. Bang bang bang! Not long ago, Grandmaster Xingyun was attacked by the colossal tyrant to the point that he could not retaliate at all. Now, Grandmaster Xingyun finally had a chance to be arrogant. His right hand started to work, and he threw out a few punches, each punch landing on the colossal tyrant's head. Fut fut fut. Although the colossal tyrant's head was very big, under the terrifying bombardment of Grandmaster Xingyun's punches, it still continuously spat out blood. Not long after, the colossal tyrant's head expanded again. Die. Roughly a few minutes later, Grandmaster Xingyun clenched his right fist and threw it towards the colossal tyrant's heart, along with a violent gale. Plop. Grandmaster Xingyun did not hold back in this punch. The outcome was predictable. Under Grandmaster Xingyun's terrifying attack, the colossal tyrant's heart was pierced and it fell backwards. Only at the last moment before its death did the colossal tyrant wake up. If it wasn't for its arrogance and bringing out the heaven-devouring scepter, Ningyu and the rest would be the ones dying. But it was useless now. The colossal tyrant's eyes rolled over and it died on the spot. After killing the colossal tyrant, Grandmaster Xingyun took a deep breath and the grave expression on his face slightly eased up. The colossal tyrant was a pinnacle 9th grade Earth Sovereign, and the reason why he could kill it so easily was because of the Dark Emperor. Ningyu, the colossal tyrant, is a pinnacle 9th grade Earth Sovereign, and there's a terrifying energy in its body. Do you want to? Grandmaster Xingyun looked at Ningyu and said. Whoosh. Halfway through Grandmaster Xingyun's words, the Dark Emperor's heaven-devouring scepter flew out and landed before the colossal tyrant. Sizzle. Sizzle. A terrifying devouring energy gushed out from the heaven-devouring scepter. Practically in an instant, the colossal tyrant that was a pinnacle 9th grade Earth Sovereign was only left with a layer of skin. This sudden change left Ningyu and Grandmaster Xingyun speechless. The heaven-devouring scepter was truly terrifying to be able to devour even a pinnacle 9th grade Earth Sovereign so quickly. Dark Emperor, I can give you the heaven-devouring scepter, but you can't possibly leave nothing for us, right? Ningyu stared at the Dark Emperor as he sourly said. Don't be anxious, I can give you the beast core of the colossal tyrant. The Dark Emperor was a little awkward as he flipped the heaven-devouring scepter and took out a beast core and threw it towards Ningyu. Boom. Catching the beast core, Ningyu was speechless. This is the beast core of the colossal tyrant. Why is there only less than 5% of the energy in it? Ningyu waved the beast core in his hand and said, if it wasn't for our help, how could you obtain the heaven-devouring scepter? Aren't you being a little insincere by doing this? Who are we? How is this insincere? The Dark Emperor started to play dumb. I will be going into seclusion. Unless it's a life-and-death situation, don't contact me. As he spoke, the Dark Emperor brought the heaven-devouring scepter and his silhouette flashed, entering the interspatial ring. After entering the interspatial ring, a voice resounded in Ningyu's ears. Chapter 1459. Chapter 1459. Chapter 1459. 9th grade human sovereign. You want to fight 10 alone? I'll beat you until you don't know where you're going. Ningyu's mind sank into the spatial ring, wanting to teach the Dark Emperor a lesson on the spot. Don't. No matter how strong I am, I won't hit you. Our relationship is very strong. I'll hit anyone but you. The Dark Emperor anxiously begged for mercy. Although the Dark Emperor had the heaven-devouring scepter and the heaven-devouring scepter had devoured the big tyrant, the Dark Emperor had almost no chance of winning against Ningyu. Firstly, the heaven-devouring scepter had absorbed too much energy and was currently digesting it, so it could not unleash much of its power. He himself had also secretly devoured a lot of energy and urgently needed time to recuperate, so he could not fight with Ningyu. How long will your closed-door cultivation take? Ningyu did not really want to fight the Dark Emperor, so he asked. It's hard to say. At least 10 days to half a month, and at most 1 to 3 months. The Dark Emperor shook his head and said, to tell you the truth, when I come out of seclusion, my cultivation will at least be at the Earth Supreme stage. You'd better raise your cultivation to the Earth Supreme stage. Don't let me advance to the Earth Supreme stage while you're still at the Mortal Sovereign stage. Ningyu did not want to waste words with the Dark Emperor here, so he directly exited the spatial ring. I carefully observed this place just now and discovered that after the death of the big tyrant, this place has returned to normal. Seeing Ningyu appear, Master Xingyun said in a deep voice, "Let's leave now, or stay here. Wait a little longer, I want to devour the beast core of the big tyrant." After pondering for a moment, Ningyu said, "Although the beast core of the big tyrant only has less than half of its energy left, it is still very useful to me. All right, I'll protect you." Master Xingyun nodded, then took a few steps back and looked around vigilantly. Although this place was already very safe after the death of the big tyrant, it was always good to be careful. With Master Xingyun protecting him, Ningyu did not have any worries. He directly sat cross-legged on the ground and directly threw the beast core of the big tyrant into his mouth. Catcher! The beast core shattered, and a terrifying energy surged into Ningyu's consciousness. Although the beast core of the giant tyrant only had less than 5% of its energy left, this amount of energy was enough to make Ningyu feel a little overwhelmed. Spirit transformation art. With a thought, Ningyu hurriedly activated the spirit transformation technique and began to cultivate. Under the guidance of the spirit transformation art, the energy within the beast core was quickly refined in Ningyu's sea of consciousness. Too slow. Ningyu frowned slightly. At this rate, he estimated that it would take him a few days to completely absorb the energy in the beast core. Suppress him. Gritting his teeth, Ningyu gathered all of his peak 8th grade soul force in his sea of consciousness and controlled the energy inside the beast core. After that, Ningyu made a series of hand seals and recalled the cultivation methods of the 7th and 8th stages of the spirit transformation method in his mind. This time, Ningyu wanted to directly cultivate the spirit transformation method to the 8th stage. For the current Ningyu, the 6th stage of the spirit transformation method was no longer enough to support him to quickly recover his vitality. Only by cultivating the spirit transformation method to the 8th stage could he maintain that rapid recovery speed. Kai. Although he had cultivated the 7th and 8th stages of the spirit transformation method in his previous life, Ningyu still felt the pressure when cultivating again in this life. Only when there was pressure would there be motivation. Ningyu was not discouraged. He closed his eyes slightly and began to wholeheartedly immerse himself in cultivating the spirit transformation method. Time flew. In the blink of an eye, half an hour had passed. After half an hour of all-out cultivation, Ningyu finally cultivated the spirit transformation method to the 7th stage. Again, Ningyu was not satisfied with the 7th stage of the spirit transformation method. He closed his eyes slightly and began to cultivate again. Another half an hour passed. Cultivating the 7th stage of the spirit transformation method required half an hour. Half an hour was not enough for the 8th stage. Ningyu continued to cultivate. It was not until an hour had passed that Ningyu let out a long breath. There was a hint of excitement between his brows. 1.5 hours to cultivate the spirit transformation method from the 7th stage to the 8th stage. Even in his previous life, he could not compare to this speed. Devour. After cultivating the spirit transformation method to the 8th stage, Ningyu immediately activated the spirit transformation method and began to devour and refine the energy in his consciousness. As he continued to devour, the energy in Ningyu's consciousness was decreasing at a visible rate. At this rate, Ningyu would be able to devour all the energy in 3 to 4 hours at most. Time continued to pass. In the blink of an eye, an hour had passed. Bang! After an hour of devouring and refining, a dull sound suddenly came from Ningyu's consciousness. A late-stage 8th stage human supreme. In an hour, his cultivation had advanced from a mid-stage 8th stage human supreme to a late-stage 8th stage human supreme. It would not be an exaggeration to describe this speed as terrifying. He actually advanced to a late-stage 8th stage human supreme. Feeling the aura emitted from Ningyu, Master Xingyun frowned slightly. He was a little shocked. He had founded the Nebula Academy for many years and had seen many geniuses. However, he had never met a peerless genius like Ningyu. There is still a lot of energy in the giant tyrant's beast core. If Ning Yu completely devours it, I wonder what level his cultivation will reach. Master Xingyun observed the changes around him while staring at Ning Yu. He wanted to see what level Ning Yu could reach. Bang! Another half an hour passed. Another dull sound came from Ning Yu's consciousness. A peak 8th stage human supreme. Bang! Another half an hour passed. A dull sound came from Ning Yu's consciousness for the third time. Different from the previous 3 times, the dull sound this time was loud. A 9th stage human supreme. Ning Yu advanced from a peak 8th stage human supreme to a 9th stage human supreme. I'm a 9th stage human supreme now. I wonder if I can reach the peak 9th stage human supreme. Master Xingyun's expression was extremely solemn. If an ordinary middle phase 8th grade sovereign were to obtain the beast core of the great tyrant beast, they would probably be able to reach the pinnacle 9th grade sovereign realm. However, Ning Yu was a freak, so Master Xingyun was not sure if Ning Yu could advance to a 9th stage human supreme. But Ning Yu was a freak, so Master Xingyun was not sure if Ning Yu could advance to a 9th stage human supreme. Whoosh! After advancing to a 9th stage human supreme, Ning Yu let out a long breath and slowly opened his eyes. Sensing the changes in his sea of consciousness, Ning Yu showed some excitement between his brows. The giant tyrant was really a timely help. If not for its beast core, Ning Yu would not have been able to advance to a 9th stage human supreme in such a short time. Yin-Yang Palm. Although he had advanced to a 9th stage human supreme, Ning Yu was not very satisfied with his strength. With his current strength, he could easily kill a 2nd stage Earth Supreme, but he could only contend with a 3rd stage Earth Supreme. If he encountered a powerful 3rd stage Earth Supreme, he could only regret it. Therefore, Ning Yu was not in a hurry to leave. He wanted to practice the Netherworld Samsara Palm. Yin-Yang Palm was the 10th move of the Netherworld Samsara Palm. It was extremely powerful. Chapter 1460. Yin-Yang Palm. Yin-Yang Palm. Ning Yu wasn't an indecisive person. He briefly recalled the cultivation method of the Yin-Yang Palm in his mind. Then, he waved his hands repeatedly and began to cultivate. Yin in the left hand, Yang in the right. The power of Yin-Yang Palm was, in a sense, countless times stronger than Universe Palm. The reason why Ning Yu didn't use the Universe Palm during this period of time was that the power of the Universe Palm was too weak to deal with his current opponents. But Yin-Yang Palm was different. Yin-Yang Palm was the 10th palm of Netherworld Samsara Palm, and its power was several times greater than the previous 9 palms. If Ning Yu could successfully cultivate it, it wouldn't be a problem for his strength to double. Poochie. While Ning Yu was fully focused on cultivating Yin-Yang Palm, outside the stone room where the killing formation was, the palace master suddenly spat out a mouthful of blood, her face extremely pale. "Palace master, are you all right?" Fairy Yun she hurriedly asked when she saw the palace master's condition. "That mysterious expert from 100 Flowers Palace has started to attack my body. I need to use the soul attraction technique as soon as possible." Wiping the blood from the corner of her mouth, the palace master said solemnly, "Think of a way to contact Ning Yu and get them to break the killing formation as soon as possible. No, this stone door is very special. My soul power can't penetrate it." Fairy Yun she shook her head, her expression extremely grave. "Use brute force to break it open," the palace master said coldly, displaying the viciousness of a palace master. Fairy Yun she nodded, then clenched her right hand into a fist and punched the stone door. Bang! A terrifying force spread out with the stone door as the center. But very quickly, this force was absorbed by the stone door and turned into nothingness. 100 Flower Fan. Fairy Yun she seemed to have expected this result. She flicked her wrist, and the 100 Flower Fan appeared in her hand. Swish, swish, swish. She fanned the 100 Flower Fan repeatedly, and several gusts of Yuan Qi swept out, abruptly blasting at the stone door. Bang! Bang! What happened next caused Fairy Yun Shi and the palatial mistress' hearts to sink to rock bottom. Several gusts of Yuan Qi slammed into the stone door. However, the result was not satisfactory. After the origin Qi blasted against the stone door, it did not last long before it was absorbed by the stone door and turned into nothingness. Poochie. Such a situation caused the palace master to spit out another mouthful of scarlet red blood, and her countenance grew even paler. Damn it! Cursing inwardly, the palace mistress of the 100 Flowers Palace gritted her teeth and said, I don't care anymore. Go out and preside over the situation. No matter what, you have to buy me 3 days. I know that this is very unfair to you, but whether the Flower Palace can be taken back completely depends on. At first, the palatial lord was filled with grief and indignation. She even believed that Fairy Yoon she would definitely die. But soon, she discovered some clues. Rumble. A terrifying voice came from behind the stone door. Catcher. Then, the stone door shattered, and 2 figures dashed out from within. Ningyu, Master Xingyun. Both the palace mistress and Fairy Yoon she revealed surprised expressions when they saw the 2 figures that had appeared abruptly. They'd thought that Master Xingyun and Ningyu had been trapped inside, but who would have imagined that they would actually come out at such a critical moment? Most importantly, they'd even activated the core of the formation and activated the Peerless Slaughter formation. So long as the Peerless Slaughter formation was activated, then with the current resources of Giant Shield City, it would be able to easily last for 3 days. Palace Mistress of the 100 Flowers Palace, that's an entirely different matter. I spent a few 100,000 Emperor-grade origin crystals to activate the Peerless Slaughter formation. Once you reclaim the Flower Palace, I want 4 treasures within the treasure vault, and it'll cost a few 100,000 Emperor-grade origin crystals. Ningyu went straight to the point and didn't waste his breath. No problem. The palace mistress nodded and said, I'll start executing soul attraction right now. Is there anything I should pay attention to? After all, it was Ningyu who taught her soul attraction, so it wasn't wrong to ask Ningyu's opinion before executing it. There's one thing I need to pay attention to. Ningyu's expression was solemn as he said, after you succeed, you must kill your way into the Flower Palace within 3 days and snatch your main body. Otherwise, I'm afraid that mysterious expert will harm you. I know that. The palace mistress said. If there's nothing else, let's go out first. You can execute soul attraction here. After saying that, Ningyu and Master Xingyun walked out together. Seeing Ningyu's departing figure, the palace mistress of the 100 Flowers Palace was a little dumbfounded. You really believe me? After all, I've never executed the soul attraction technique. What if something goes wrong? What should I do? However, Ningyu and Master Xingyun had already left, so it wasn't convenient for the palace mistress to ask too many questions. Fairy Yunxi, go out and take charge of the situation. Also, seal this place for me. Unless Ningyu comes, no one else can enter. The palace mistress of the 100 Flowers Palace shook her head, then sat down cross-legged and said in a deep voice, once the Peerless Killing formation is activated, unless a supreme expert appears, there's no way to open it within 3 days. You must tightly shut the city gate. You must not open it no matter what. Understood. Fairy Yunxi nodded, then bid farewell to the palace mistress and left with the 100 Flowers fan. Soul attraction, I hope it works. After Fairy Yunxi and the others left, the palace mistress of the 100 Flowers Palace sighed and murmured, success or failure depends on this. If I don't become a king, I'll become a bandit. Swoosh. Swoosh. Ningyu didn't know what the palace mistress of the 100 Flowers Palace was thinking, nor did he want to know. After leaving the formation core, Ningyu rushed to the Giant Shield Pavilion without stopping. Giant Shield Pavilion. At this moment, in the main hall of the Giant Shield Pavilion, 8 to 9 warriors were sitting in 2 rows. Senior Guangzhon, are you sure that Ningyu is fine? Lu Wei suddenly stood up from her chair and asked. Hearing Lu Wei's words, Guangzhon rolled his eyes and said, this is already the 700th time you've asked this in an hour. On average, it's every 4 to 5 seconds. Can't you be a little more at ease? I can't be at ease. Even now, we still don't know whether Ningyu is dead or alive. How can I be at ease? Lu Wei said, Bai Dun and Bai Qi aren't good people. If Ningyu leaves with them, he'll definitely be in danger. There will definitely be danger, but it won't be life-threatening. Guangzhon shook his head. Outside the giant shield city, it was because of Ningyu's help that Fairy Yun Shi and Daoist Master Ji Mo had a way to trap Tu or He. Now that it was said that the 100 Flowers City had sent an army to attack, there was no reason for her not to protect Ningyu at such a dangerous time. No, I still have to think of a way to see Ningyu. After thinking about it, Lu Wei said in a deep voice, Bai Qi is someone who can do anything. If Ningyu falls into his hands, even if he doesn't die, he'll be tortured badly. What? You want to torture me? Chapter 1461. Mysterious Aura Ningyu. Hearing the voice coming from outside the giant shield pavilion, Lu Wei was stunned at first, then she hurriedly turned her head. Looking at the thin figure at the entrance of the giant shield pavilion, Lu Wei's face was filled with joy. That thin figure was none other than Ningyu. This time, Master Xingyun was not with Ningyu. He and Fairy Yun Shi had gone to the tower of the giant shield city to confront the experts from the 100 Flowers City. Since the peerless killing formation had been opened, the experts from the 100 Flowers City would not be able to attack in a short period of time, so Ningyu came to the giant shield pavilion to look for Lu Wei and the rest. Genuine goods at fair prices. I guarantee you that it's genuine. Ningyu walked into the giant shield pavilion and casually found a chair to sit on. Are you guys having a meeting? What meeting? If you didn't come, Lu Wei would have rushed over to save you. Wild Warrior laughed bitterly. Before Ningyu entered the forbidden grounds, he had instructed Wild Warrior to ensure the safety of Lu Wei and the rest. Now that Ningyu had returned, Wild Warrior's tense nerves had finally relaxed a little. As long as Ningyu appeared, the situation would improve. At the very least, he could let Lu Wei and the rest enter the Tower of You to take refuge. Hihi, why save me? Do I look like I'm going to get into trouble? Ningyu smiled and said to Lu Wei, Don't worry about my safety, the person who can kill me in this world has yet to appear. Stop being so smug. Lu Wei rolled her eyes at Ningyu and said, With the current strength of the giant shield city, it is almost impossible to fight head-on with the 100 Flowers City. Should we continue to stay in the giant shield city, or should we think of a way to leave? Of course we should stay in the giant shield city. Ningyu laughed bitterly. Why? Lu Wei was confused. The Sword of Evil, Mad Warrior, and the others were also confused. Given the current situation, everyone knew that they shouldn't stay in giant shield city. Because the army of 100 Flowers City has returned. They have already surrounded Giant Shield City. Even a fly can't leave Giant Shield City, let alone us, Ningyu explained. After some thought, Ningyu added, From now on, you can move about freely in the City Lord's mansion. No one will do anything to you. Let's not. Bai Dun is a 9th grade Earth Sovereign. With him in the City Lord's mansion, it's better for us to keep a low profile. Lu Wei said solemnly. In Lu Wei's view, only Berserker was a 9th grade Earth Sovereign, and he wasn't as powerful as Bai Shield. If White Shield were to forcefully attack them, they would have to bear the consequences. After all, White Shield was the City Lord of Giant Shield City. He was extremely powerful. Bai Dun is dead, and Bai Qi, no, Bai Qi isn't dead. Aside from Bai Qi, everyone close to Bai Dun in the City Lord's mansion should be dead. Ningyu shrugged. After leaving the Array Core, Ningyu handed Bai Dun to the Law of Space and the sapling for them to devour. After all, they had helped Ningyu a lot in the vortex. There was no reason for Ningyu to refuse if they wanted Bai Dun to devour them. As for Bai Qi, Ningyu didn't plan to kill him. There was an extremely terrifying energy in Bai Qi's body, and that energy was very useful to Ningyu. If he used it well, it could have unexpected effect. Dead. Hearing Ningyu's words, Lu Wei and the others widened their eyes in disbelief. Bai Dun was a 9th grade Earth Sovereign, the absolute overlord of Giant Shield City. Who could kill him? Could it be Master Xingyun? Lu Wei and the rest might not know, but Quanzhong knew. With Ningyu's strength, it was impossible for him to kill Bai Dun. If Bai Dun was dead, then there was only one explanation: Master Xingyun had made a move. Ningyu, I wonder if Master Xingyun is. Quanzhong hesitated. Master Xingyun is on the city wall. You can go look for him now. Ningyu was very generous and did not ask Kwang Zhon to stay. Since he was going to watch the battle from the city wall, it didn't matter if it was earlier or later. Thank you. Kwang Zhon cupped his fists towards Ningyu before he tore through space and disappeared. Some of you have reached the 9th grade Earth Sovereign Realm, and some have reached the quasi-heavenly Sovereign Realm. These Emperor-grade Yuan crystals are for you. After Kwang Zhon left, Ningyu took out an interspatial pouch and threw it to Lu Wei. Activating the array core had consumed tens of thousands of Emperor-grade Yuan crystals. In other words, Ningyu only had a total of 10,000 Emperor-grade Yuan crystals on him. After receiving the interspatial pouch, Lu Wei did not stand on ceremony with Ningyu. She distributed the Emperor-grade Yuan crystals one by one. Their cultivation had been improving rapidly during this period of time, and they needed some Emperor-grade Yuan crystals to stabilize their cultivation. Ningyu taking out so many Emperor-grade Yuan crystals was like sending charcoal in snowy weather. I'm going to take a look at the city wall. Do you want to come with me? Asked Ningyu when he saw the Sword of Evil and the others receiving the Emperor-grade Yuan crystals. I'm not going. I just reached the quasi-Earth Sovereign Realm not long ago, and I need to find a way to stabilize my aura. The first to refuse was Sage Spirit Shu. Sage Spirit Shu was currently a quasi-Earth Sovereign, and his aura was not very stable. He wanted to use this time to stabilize his aura. I'm staying too. The second to refuse was Dan Guzi. Dan Guzi's soul force was very strong, and he could sense that Giant Shield City had activated the formation. In a short period of time, the experts from 100 Flowers City would not be able to attack. Staying behind to stabilize his cultivation was the most important thing. I'm not going either. The Sword of Evil also refused. In the end, only Lu Wei wanted to take a look at the city wall. Lu Wei had a violet spirit body. Not only could she advance rapidly, but her ability to stabilize her cultivation was also terrifying. She didn't need to stay behind to stabilize her cultivation. You guys rest here. We'll be leaving first. Ningyu didn't force the issue. He grabbed Lu Wei and rushed toward the city wall. Swish, swish. Ningyu and Lu Wei left the city lord's mansion with incredible speed. In practically an instant, they were far away. Achem. Not long after leaving the city lord's mansion, Ningyu suddenly stopped. What's going on? Asked Lu Wei. Seeing Ningyu stop, she was puzzled. I sensed an extremely familiar aura. Ningyu frowned, feeling that something was off. This aura was extremely similar to the one he had encountered in the secret realm. Could it be that his here? Ningyu's expression was grave. The he Ningyu spoke of was Xie Yi of the Pill God clan. Xie Yi cultivated the myriad embodiment transformation grand art. He could turn into millions of spirits. In the secret realm, Ningyu had fought with him and knew how powerful he was. That clone hadn't ranked very high among all of Xie Yi's clones. If Ningyu's avatar had been ranked in the top 50 at that time, it was still unknown whether Ningyu would still be alive now. Haha, you really are extraordinary. I just released a bit of my aura and you sensed it. Chapter 1462. Chapter 1462. Cloud Return Tower. Cloud Return Tower's third floor? Hearing this, a cold expression appeared on Ningyu's face. It was Xie Yi indeed. Xie Yi told him that Lu Ni had the purple spirit body and asked him to go to the third floor of the Tower of Clouds. This meant that Xie Yi was confident. Ningyu's face was solemn as he thought of a plan. It was dangerous to bring Lu Wei there. If Xie Yi's clone was ranked in the top 50, it would be extremely powerful. If he didn't bring Lu Wei, Ningyu was afraid that there would be other clones in Giant Shield City. After all, Xie Yi had almost reached the initial success realm in the boundless secret realm and could create 99 clones. If it wasn't for Ningyu killing one of his clones in the empty secret realm, he would have reached the initial success realm in the boundless secret realm. That's right, the third floor of the Cloud Return Tower. See you there. After saying this, Xie Yi's aura disappeared. No matter how hard Ningyu searched, he couldn't find him. Looks like Xie Yi's clone is very close to the front. Taking a deep breath, Ningyu said to Lu Wei, "Turn around, we're going to the Cloud Return Tower." This was Giant Shield City anyway. If he was in danger, Master Xing Yun and Fairy Yun she could come quickly. Plus, Ningyu had already advanced to the 9th grade Human Supreme and mastered the Yin-Yang Palm. Even if he met Xie Yi's clone, he could still fight it. Alright. Lu Wei knew that Ningyu must have his reasons for wanting to go to the Cloud Return Tower. So she didn't ask much and followed behind Ningyu, heading towards the Cloud Return Tower. How many? He knew
Not
very
long
well
after,
that the man and woman
and
before
Lu Wei
him were both in front of the Cloud Return Tower.
Moreover,
and Yuan
they were
Dan
both
Realm
high-level
servant
human
walked up and said
supremacies.
respectfully,
He was only
"The
a
two of
Yuan
you
Dan Realm
bring us to the
cultivator.
3rd floor."
If he angered
Ningyu
them,
did not
he
want
would
to waste
definitely
time.
suffer.
He
How about
directly
this?
stated his
I'll
intention.
call the owner over.
"Someone is
The
waiting
Yuan
for
Dan
us
Realm
on the 3rd
manservant
floor,"
said
The
carefully. He was
primordial
afraid of
core
angering
realm
Ningyu
manservant
and
felt a
Lu
little
Wei.
awkward.
Sorry
Not
for
long
the
ago,
trouble.
a young man
Ningyu
came to
was
the
not
Cloud's
an
Returning
unreasonable
Inn and
person.
booked the entire
After
place.
all,
The
that
Cloud's
young man
Returning
only had
Pavilion
one
was someone
request,
else's trump
and that was
card.
to not let
It
anyone
wouldn't be
enter the
good to
3rd
cause
level
trouble
within
here.
an hour.
Of course, even
Russell,
if he couldn't
the
go to the
Yuan
3rd
Dan
floor,
Realm
he
manservant
could still go
quickly
to the
turned
other
around
floors.
and entered the
Although
Cloud's
this
Returning
request was very
Pavilion.
strange,
Creak.
the owner of
Not
Cloud's
long after,
Returning
a
Pavilion was
middle-aged
very
man
happy to
slowly
make a
walked
little
out
more
of the
money.
Cloud's
As
Returning
the saying
Pavilion.
goes, if you
5th
take
grade
someone's
Earth
money,
Sovereign,
you will help them
sensing
avoid
the middle-aged
disaster.
man's aura,
Since Cloud's
Ningyu's
Returning
face turned
Pavilion
grave.
had taken the young
With his
man's
current
origin
strength,
crystal,
they
facing
would
a 5th
naturally
grade
act
Earth
according
Sovereign
to his
would only
wishes.
mean death.
Sorry,
If I've
except
guessed
for
for
the
the 3rd
3rd
floor,
you should be
you can go
Ningyu.
anywhere. The middle-aged
Yuan
man
Dan
first
Realm
looked at
manservant
Ningyu and
said,
said,
"We
"I'm
must
sorry,
go to the
but
3rd
the Cloud's
floor."
Returning Pavilion
Ningyu
has been
said
booked.
expressionlessly,
Please come another
"This,
day. Please don't
sorry."
make things difficult
Ningyu
for me.
seemed to have
I'm
changed
just
his
a
mind.
doorkeeper."
He grabbed
the Yuan
Lu
Dan
Wei's
Realm
hand and
manservant
left.
was embarrassed. Seeing Ningyu leave, the middle-aged man's mouth was slightly opened. He was a little dumbfounded. What's going on? Why isn't Ningyu playing his cards according to common sense? Shouldn't he first ask how to get to the 3rd level of the Cloud's Returning Pavilion before bargaining? Why did he just turn around and leave without giving any leeway? Please wait. Recalling the words of the man on the 3rd level of the Cloud's Returning Pavilion, the middle-aged man called out to Ningyu. "As long as you can receive 3 moves from me, I will immediately arrange a room for you on the 3rd level." Ningyu did not even turn his head. What a joke, 3 moves from you. Isn't that nonsense? You're a 5th grade Earth Sovereign, while I'm only an initial phase 9th grade Earth Sovereign. The two of us aren't on the same level. Not to mention 3 moves, I won't even be able to receive 1 move from you. 2 moves. The middle-aged man yelled, trying to change Ningyu's mind. However, Ningyu still did not turn around. 1 move. The middle-aged man ruthlessly reduced the 3 moves to 1 move. The young man on the 3rd level of the Cloud's Returning Pavilion had said that if Ningyu could exchange a move with him, he would give him 50,000 Emperor-grade origin crystals. Exchanging pointers for 3 moves was worth 150,000 Emperor-grade origin crystals. Initially, the middle-aged man was determined to obtain 150,000 Emperor-grade origin crystals. But now, it looked like it would be pretty good if he could obtain 50,000 Emperor-grade origin crystals. Ningyu stopped abruptly when he heard the middle-aged man say that he only needed to block 1 move. Turning around, Ningyu returned to the main entrance of the Cloud's Returning Pavilion. "If you can withstand 1 move from me, I'll let you enter the 3rd level of the Cloud's Returning Pavilion." Seeing that Ningyu had returned, the middle-aged man let out a long sigh and said, "As for me, I don't want to withstand 1, 2, or 3 moves from you. I just want to know if I can enter the 3rd level of the Cloud's Returning Pavilion." Ningyu shrugged. "You." Hearing Ningyu's words, the middle-aged man gnashed his teeth in anger. He was a 5th grade Earth Sovereign, while Ningyu was only a 9th grade Earth Sovereign. How dare Ningyu speak to him in such a manner when there was a huge gap between their cultivation? "What's wrong? You can't enter." Ningyu raised his brows and regretfully said, "Then I'll be taking my leave." "You can enter." The middle-aged man was furious. He gnashed his teeth and said, "The 3rd level of the Cloud's Returning Pavilion. I'm afraid that you won't be able to return alive. You don't have to worry about that." Ningyu smiled at the middle-aged man and strode into the Cloud's Returning Pavilion. Dong, dong, dong. After entering the Cloud's Returning Pavilion, Ningyu did not stop for long. Instead, He moved towards the third level. Just as the middle-aged man had said, the spacious clouds returning pavilion was empty. Apart from him and Lu Wei, there was no one else. Ningyu, what are we doing here? I think you've offended the boss of the clouds returning pavilion, and the boss is a 5th-grade Earth Sovereign. Lu Wei was a little worried. After all, the clouds returning pavilion was a powerful force in Giant Shield City. Offending them was destined to be disastrous. It's fine. I'll deal with it when it comes. Ningyu waved his hand and said, not to mention that the boss of the clouds returning pavilion is a 5th-grade Earth Sovereign, even if he's a 9th-grade Earth Sovereign, I would still dare to enter. Pa, pa, pa. In an instant, several crisp sounds came from the third level of the clouds returning pavilion. Creak. Chapter 1463. News from the bloodthirsty wolves. Xie Yi. Looking at the young man who suddenly appeared, Ningyu's expression was devoid of joy or sorrow. He said indifferently, "Speak, why did you send me here?" On the surface, Ningyu looked very calm, but in fact, he was extremely surprised. The cultivation of Xie Yi's clone was at least a 3rd-grade Earth Sovereign. This meant that Xie Yi was not much weaker than Bai Qi at his peak. In fact, he might even be stronger. It's nothing important. I just wanted to have a chat with you. Xie Yi shrugged. I'm sorry, but if it's just a chat, I don't think I have the time. As he spoke, Ningyu turned his head, intending to leave the cloud-returning pavilion. Haha, don't be in such a hurry. Don't you want to know where the 2 wolves that left the secret realm are? Seeing that Ningyu was about to leave, Xie Yi's lips curled. If you leave just like that, I can't guarantee that something will happen. Whoosh. Hearing this, Ningyu's heart skipped a beat. Ever since he left the secret realm, he hadn't seen the 2 wolves. In the past, he thought that they were high-rank Earth Supreme and wouldn't be in danger. Now, it seemed like he was wrong. Very wrong. More accurately, it was the bloodthirsty frenzied wolf and the rest that had fallen into Xie Yi's hand. Where are they? Ningyu said in a deep voice with a solemn expression. Haha, let's talk inside. Smiling, Xie Yi turned and entered the room. Since Xie Yi had put it this way, Ningyu couldn't just leave. After all, the 2 bloodthirsty berserk wolves had helped him many times in the empty realm. Now that they were in trouble, Ningyu had to save them no matter what. Be careful. Ningyu grabbed Lu Wei's arm and walked towards the 3rd floor. Not long later, Ningyu arrived at the 3rd floor and stood in front of Xie Yi's room. Come in. In the room, Xie Yi's tone was calm, and one could not tell if he was happy or angry. Stay behind me. The calmer Xie Yi was, the more serious Ningyu's face became. He protected Lu Wei behind him and pushed out with his right hand. Creak. The door was slowly pushed open. After opening the door, Ningyu pulled Lu Wei and strode in. Very good. Seeing Ningyu enter the room, Xie Yi nodded his head. You have 2 choices now. 1. Submit to me. 2. I will kill those 2 wolves. Be more realistic. Don't talk about useless things. Ningyu first probed the room with his perception, then said, I will never submit to you. Either you hand over ferocious bloodlust mad wolf and the others, or I'll cripple this clone of yours. Ha ha ha. Evil One felt like he had just heard the funniest joke in the world. He laughed maniacally and said coldly, those 2 wolves are not here. They're in the army outside the city. If you want to save them, it's not impossible. But you have to leave Giant Shield City with me and try your luck with the 100-Flower City army. Hearing this, Ningyu's face turned ugly. Try his luck with the 100-Flower City army? That was no different from suicide. Not just him, even Fairy Yun Shi and Junren Mo didn't dare to enter the army. What, you're not willing? Xie Yi pouted, if you're not willing, I can't help you. I'm curious. This clone of yours doesn't have the ability to kill me. Why did you lure me here? By now, Ningyu had completely calmed down. He was terrifyingly calm. After analyzing, he was certain that Xie Yi's clone had no way of killing him. If not, with Xie Yi's personality, he would have killed him long ago. He wouldn't have waited until now. Xie Yi's eyes flashed for a moment, but he quickly regained his composure. You said that I can't kill you. Why don't we try? A sinister smile rose on the corner of Xieyi's lips. This clone of mine is a 3rd-grade Earth Sovereign, while you're only a 9th-grade mortal sovereign. I'll see how capable you are. With the word patience, Xieyi stomped on the ground and dashed towards Ningyu. Pust. As he charged, Xieyi clenched his right fist and punched at Ningyu's head. Luckily, Xieyi should be slightly weaker than Bai Qi. Ningyu compared Xieyi's and Bai Qi's strengths. He realized that Bai Qi could easily defeat Xieyi with his full strength. With Ningyu's current strength, he wouldn't be a match for Bai Qi at his peak. But against Xieyi, he could win. Yin-yang palm. At this critical moment, Ningyu formed a series of hand seals and pushed out. As Ningyu pushed out, 2 palm prints flew out from his palms and collided with Xieyi's fist. Boom. The moment the palm print clashed with Xieyi's fist, Xieyi was sent flying backwards like a broken kite. Crack. He crashed heavily against the table and chairs behind him. In an instant, all the chairs in the room broke and were smashed into pieces. You do have some strength. But if you want to fight me, no. Xieyi said coldly. He did not gain the upper hand. However, just as Xieyi finished his sentence, he quickly retreated. Ningyu's second palm print had also arrived before him and slammed against his chest. Poochie. A huge force came from his chest, causing Xieyi to fly backwards once again. Damn it. The sudden change made Xieyi's face turn dark. The yin-yang palm that Ningyu had executed was indeed heaven-defying. If it wasn't for his cultivation reaching grade 3 Earth Supreme, he would have been defeated. Ningyu, you've angered me. I'll skin you alive. Xieyi went berserk. He wanted to kill Ningyu and let Ningyu die without a burial. Come out. In that instant, Xieyi formed seals with both hands and waved them. Not long after, a few cultivators that looked similar to Xieyi appeared in the room. Rustle. When those cultivators appeared, they did not hesitate and immediately attacked Ningyu. However, the strength of these cultivators was much weaker than Xieyi. Their cultivation was only at grade 1 Earth Supreme and they could not pose any threat to Ningyu. Puff. 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 Ningyu held onto the red demonic sword and started a massacre in the room. Before long, the few martial artists that appeared later were all killed by Ningyu without exception. Ningyu, how dare you kill my clone? Seeing the few martial artists die, Xieyi said coldly, when we were in the empty secret territory, you destroyed one of my clones, causing me to be unable to train my 1000 free embodiment technique to its peak. Now that you've killed my clone, I will make you beg for death. Come out, giant tyrant. Xieyi made a grabbing motion with his right hand and space shattered. A massive creature charged out from the void. Ningyu, this is the giant tyrant. You will definitely die in its hands today. Chapter 1464. Chapter 1464. Chapter 1464. Call for help, giant tyrant. Ningyu was dumbfounded. Even those first-grade Earth Sovereigns were easily killed by him. Now, Xieyi had summoned a giant tyrant. What was the meaning of this? This giant tyrant's cultivation was only at the first-grade Earth Sovereign realm, and it didn't seem very powerful. Did Xieyi think that this giant tyrant could easily kill him? Go, giant tyrant! Xieyi shouted coldly. Roar. As soon as Evil's voice fell, giant Tyrannosaurus roared at the sky and charged at Ningyu. Die. Ningyu did not care about the gigantic Tyrannosaurus. He held the red demon sword in his hand and slashed downwards. Catcher. A crisp sound rang out. The giant Tyrannosaurus head was chopped off on the spot. After a while, Xieyi said, following that, have you thought it Ningyu
through?
stabbed the
You
red
don't
demon
have a
sword
choice.
into the giant
You're
tyrant's
trapped in
heart,
this killing
directly
array.
penetrating
As
it.
long as I give
From
the order,
start to finish,
you will die.
3 seconds
I seem
had
to have
passed.
guessed something.
In other words,
Suddenly,
the giant
Ningyu
Tyrannosaurus
opened his eyes
only
and
lasted
said,
3
I
seconds
don't think
in
you have
Ningyu's
succeeded
hands
in the
before
first
it was
stage
killed
of
on
the
the
freedom
spot.
transformation
Formation.
Ningyu's words
Giant
caused
tyrant's
Xieyi's
death
eyes to
was
flicker.
within Evil One's
Taking a deep
expectations.
breath,
He
Xieyi
was not
pretended to be
discouraged.
calm. Instead,
He
Don't
waved
make
his
wild
hands,
guesses.
and 4 pillars
The
of
few
light rose from the
cultivators you
four
just
corners of
killed
the
were
room.
my second stage
Whoosh,
clones.
whoosh.
Their
Whoosh,
cultivations are
whoosh.
all first-grade Earth sovereigns.
When the light pillar
I've already
appeared,
started
Xie Yi
cultivating
laughed.
the second
Ningyu,
stage
this
of
is
the
a
boundless
killing array.
embodiment technique.
Without my help,
This clone
you
of
will
yours
not be able
is your
to escape.
100th clone.
Standing in
It
the
is
middle of
also
the array,
key to success
Ningyu did
in the
not
first
speak.
stage of the freedom
Instead,
transformation
he locked
art.
his gaze onto
Ningyu
Xie Yi
ignored
and stared
Xie
at
Yi's
him.
words and
To
continued.
be honest,
The rest
Ningyu
of your
had no
99
idea what
doppelgangers
Evil
and
One
even
was
your
up
main
to.
body are outside
What does it have
Giant
to do
Shield
with
City.
you whether I
You
can
want me to
escape or
send your
not?
doppelganger out of
Ningyu
Giant
shrugged
Shield
and said,
City so
"You
that you
didn't
can
lure
merge
me here
all
just to
100
trap me here,
doppelgangers
did
as
you?
soon as possible
If you
so
have
that you
something
can
to
master the
say,
first
just
stage.
say it.
Because if
Don't
you're late,
beat around the
your
bush.
years of hard work
Actually,
will go to waste.
it's nothing much,
and you will have to
I just want you to
recultivate
take
the
me out
freedom
of Giant
transformation
Shield
City
City
without
Nonsense.
anyone knowing.
Xie
Yi's
shocked.
words shocked
He
everyone.
did not expect
the
Ningyu
ultimate
to
killing
guess so
array had
accurately,
already been activated.
but he would not expose himself
It was almost
at this
impossible
time.
to leave
Xie
Giant Shield
berated,
City at this
"Since
time.
you don't believe me,
Besides,
then I will
even if
fulfill
they
your
could leave
wish.
Giant Shield
I will
City,
activate
it was
the
still
killing
very
array and
dangerous
kill you.
outside. You want
The
to
army
activate
of
the
100
killing
Flower
array to
City
kill me
had already
You're
surrounded
still
Giant
lacking.
Shield City.
Ningyu shrugged
If they
his
went
shoulders,
out,
and
only
then with
death
a thought,
awaited them.
he said,
"Why should
"Elders,
I help
come
you?
out and help me."
Ningyu didn't
Voila.
reject Evil
Suddenly,
One.
the
He
space
just
beside
frowned.
Ningyu broke apart,
Because those
and
two
2 figures
bloodthirsty
slowly
berserk
appeared in the
wolves
room.
are in my hands.
Hiss. Xie Yi
could not
bargained
help
with
sucking in a
Ningyu
breath
like a
of cold
merchant.
air when he felt
As
the
long as you can
terrifying
bring me
aura
out of
coming
Giant
from the
Shield
3
City,
figures,
I will
2
release
7th
those
grade
2
Earth
wolves.
sovereigns and 1
Sounds
8th
good,
grade Earth
but
sovereign.
why should I believe
This
you?
formation made his
Ningyu
heart
curled
tremble.
his lips and said,
"How could there be such
"You don't have a
experts
choice.
by Ningyu's side?
Either you take the
One
gamble,
must know
or
that
I
he had
kill the
used
2
a secret
wolves."
technique to
Xie
scan
Wan
the
said
area.
confidently,
Almost all the
"Looks like I
experts
have
of
no
the
other
Giant
choice."
Shield City had gone
Ningyu
to the
slowly
city
closed
tower.
his eyes and
Why would
stopped
there be
talking.
2 7th grade Earth
Ningyu did not
sovereigns
speak,
and 1 8th grade
neither
Earth
did
sovereign
Xie
by
Yi.
Ningyu's
In an
side.
instant,
Elders,
the room became
please
extremely
restrain him.
quiet.
I have
Even
a
the
use for
sound
him,
of breathing
said
could be
Ningyu.
heard. "What are you thanking me for? Your problem is my problem." The 8th grade Earth Sovereign pretended to be angry. "If it wasn't for you, our Nebula Academy would have been destroyed long ago. Speaking of which, we have to thank you for finding us a place to stay." That's right, these were none other than the elders of Nebula Academy. Back at Nebula Academy, Ningyu had placed all the elders who had not left in the Yuzuan Tower. Originally, Ningyu had wanted to let them out when they arrived at the Giant Shield City. But Master Xingyun felt that the city was in a mess, so he did not let them out. Now that Ningyu was in danger, finding a few high-rank Earth sovereigns to save him wouldn't have much of an impact. Right. Where are Master Xingyun and Guangzhon? The 8th grade Earth sovereign's name was Yang Qiong. He first locked his aura on Xie Yi, then said to Ningyu, "They should be fine, right? Don't worry, they're fine." Ningyu smiled. "The Giant Shield City is in a mess right now. Once we're done here, you can leave the Yuzuan Tower and find a place to rebuild Nebula Academy." "Good, that's all I need to hear." Yang Qiong was overjoyed. His figure flashed and instantly appeared beside Xie Yi. Bang! He clenched his right fist and slammed it against Xie Yi's chest. The huge force caused Xie Yi to retreat a few feet. As Xie Yi retreated, a cold light shot out from Yang Qiong's sleeves. Under Xie Yi's shocked gaze, it entered his consciousness. Control the consciousness. In an instant, Xie Yi thought of something terrifying. This 8th grade Earth Sovereign wanted to control his sea of consciousness. The consciousness was the weakest and most important part of a person's body. Once it was controlled, his fate would be in the hands of this 8th grade Earth Sovereign. Chapter 1465. Chapter 1465. Chapter 1465. Find a way to get out of here. You can't do this to me, or you will suffer retribution. Xie Yi resisted with all his might. This doppelganger was the key to whether or not he could successfully cultivate the infinite free embodiment technique. No matter what, he could not allow himself to be controlled by Ningyu. With Ningyu's personality, after controlling his doppelganger, he would definitely use this to threaten him and force him to reveal the infinite free embodiment technique. "If I don't do this to you, I'll suffer retribution." Yang Qiong did not care about Xie Yi's cries. He controlled the cold light to enter Xie Yi's mind and took control of it. "Ningyu, I'll leave this soul energy to you. Use it to control the life and death of this 3rd grade Earth Sovereign." After controlling Evil One, Yang Qiong casually threw out a cold light towards Ningyu. Ningyu's mind stirred, and he firmly caught the cold light. The cold light was Yang Qiong's soul power, and it was connected to the soul power in Xie Yi's consciousness sea. In other words, if Ningyu wanted Xie Yi dead, Xie Yi would not be able to escape. "Seniors, I'll have to trouble you to break the formation around us," Ningyu said as he retracted his soul power. "It's nothing." Yang Qiong and the two other 7th grade Earth sovereigns worked together and spent 3 minutes to break the array that Xie Yi had set up. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. After breaking the array, Yang Qiong and the rest leaped into the Tower of the Supremacy of Yu. Ningyu had said that now was not the time for them to leave the Tower of Yuzu. Therefore, they did not stay in the outside world and entered the Tower of the Lord of Yu. Actually, compared to the outside world, cultivating in the Tower of Yuzuan was twice the result with half the effort. If not for the fact that they had yet to take revenge, they would have stayed in the Tower of Ascension to cultivate. "Xie, I can take you out of Giant Shield City." Ningyu walked towards Xie Yi. After a while, he stopped in front of Xie Yi and said, "But you have to promise me one thing." "Humph. Don't expect me to tell you the 1000 free-form technique." Xie Yi snorted. On the surface, Xie Yi was furious. In fact, hope was ignited in his heart again. As long as Ningyu did not kill him, he would have a chance. In addition, if Ningyu wanted to leave Giant Shield City and set his sights on the great art of infinite freedom of embodiment, then he might be able to escape from Ningyu's clutches. "You misunderstand. I just want to see what your main body looks like." Ningyu shrugged and said, "Now that you are in my hands, you have no other choice. Either you take me there, or you die." "You." Hearing Ningyu use his own words against him, Xie Yi gritted his teeth in anger. He clenched his fists and said, "All right, I'll bring you to see my main body. I'm just afraid that you won't be able to return alive. You don't have to worry about that. You just need to take me there. You don't have to worry about anything else." Ningyu said fearlessly, "All right, I'll take you there." Xie Yi said coldly, "There's no time to lose. Let's go now. Seems like you're in a hurry. Don't rush. Before we leave Giant Shield City, there's something I need to do." Ningyu patted Xie Yi's shoulder with his right hand and said, "Stay where you are and don't move. I'm going to set up a few arrays on you." Acting mysterious. Xie Yi's eyes were tightly shut. No one knew what he was thinking. "Ningyu, you." Seeing Ningyu's actions, Lu Wei opened her mouth and said, "I really need your help. Give me a drop of blood." Ningyu smiled at Lu Wei and said, "Whoosh, whoosh." Without another word, Lu Wei forced out 2 drops of blood and sent them to Ningyu. TSK TSK. Ningyu controlled Lu Wei's blood and started setting up arrays around Xie Yi. Lu Xuan was of the purple spirit body. Her essence blood would be very helpful. In his previous life, Ningyu had seen a special method of isolating space. It mainly used the blood of a purple spirit body. Now, Ningyu used Lu Wei's 2 drops of blood to set up a few arrays around Xie Yi. Law of space: if Xie Yi sends any news to the outside world, inform me immediately. After doing all this, Ningyu contacted the law of space and asked it to watch over Xie Yi. After all, the law of space was very sensitive to space. If anything happened, it would be the first to notice. "Are you done?" Xie Yi stared at Ningyu impatiently. "You already control my life and death. What's the point of setting up arrays around me? It's always better to be careful." Ningyu smiled at Xie Yi. Then, he grabbed Lu Wei's arm and walked out of the room. Seeing Ningyu and Lu Wei leave, a cold glint appeared in Xie Yi's eyes. Moving his feet, Evil One followed closely. Xie Yi's plan was simple. He would first use Ningyu to leave Giant Shield City and then think of a way to contact his main body. As long as he left Giant Shield City, he would have a way to contact his main body. If the main body came, Ningyu would definitely die. They left just like that. On the 2nd floor of Cloud Returning Building, the middle-aged man saw that Ningyu and Xie Yi had left unscathed and was stunned. He remembered clearly that Xie Yi seemed to have a grudge against Ningyu. Why did it look like nothing had happened to them? Forget it. This matter involves Palace Master Bai Hua. It's better if I don't interfere. I'll just keep quiet and get rich. The middle-aged man took out a storage bag and weighed it in his hand. A smile appeared on his face. Let's wait a while more. Let's wait for Bai Dun to deal with Palace Master Bai Hua first. Due to the fact that the City Lord residence was kept a secret, no one else knew about it other than a few people. In particular, in Giant Shield City, only Ning Yu, Lu Swan, and a few others knew about White Shield's death. Even Palace Master 100 Flowers and Fairy Yun, she didn't know much about it. After all, Bai Dun hadn't died yet. He was just kept in Ning Yu's storage ring. Sho. At the same time, on the streets of Giant Shield City, Ning Yu, Xie Yi, and the rest dashed towards the other gate of Giant Shield City. Giant Shield City had a total of 4 gates. Among them, the south gate was the weakest and the easiest to break. Perfected Devil and Fairy Yun, she were at the south gate now. Ning Yu was going to the north gate. The north gate had been completely sealed. It would be difficult to get through from the outside or inside. Relatively speaking, the north gate had the fewest guards. It was the best way to leave Giant Shield City. Ning Yu, are you sure you can take me out from the north gate? Seeing Ning Yu heading to the north gate, Xie Yi frowned. From what I can see, the south gate is the easiest to leave. Although there are many people there, it's also the easiest to leave. Too young. Ning Yu looked at Xie Yi and said, on the surface, it looks like the north gate is the hardest to leave, but that's not the case. Under normal circumstances, it's indeed hard to leave from the north gate. However, Giant Shield City is covered by an ultimate killing formation, and this place is where the eye of the formation is. Don't joke with me. The eye of the ultimate killing formation is underground in the center of Giant Shield City. How can it be here? Xie Yi naturally didn't believe Ning Yu. Chapter 1466. Chapter 1466. Chapter 1466. Captive, you'll know when we get there. Ning Yu did not want to waste any more time with Xie Yi. In a flash, he dashed towards the north gate. I'd like to see how you're going to leave from the north gate. Xie Yi's face was cold as he followed closely behind Ning Yu. Swish, swish, swish. About 5 minutes later, Ning Yu, Xie Yi, and Lu Wei appeared near the north gate. Why not? Seeing Ning Yu stop in an alley, Xie Yi asked curiously. Are you stupid? Ning Yu rolled his eyes and said, the entire Giant Shield City is shrouded by the ultimate killing formation. Even if there is no one at the north gate, it will be very difficult for you to leave. Then what's the point of coming here? Isn't it a waste of effort? Xie Yi's face was ugly. Whether or not he could leave Giant Shield City depended on whether or not he could successfully cultivate the first stage of the boundless embodiment technique. No one will think you're mute if you don't speak. Ning Yu said coldly, if you want to leave Giant Shield City, don't say a word from now on. Otherwise, don't even think about leaving Giant Shield City. Obviously, Ning Yu's words were very destructive. Although Xie Yi was furious, he didn't dare to say anything. If he completely angered Ning Yu, he would definitely not be able to bear the consequences. After all, his life was still temporarily in the hands of Ning Yu. Ning Yu closed his eyes slightly and unleashed his powerful perception as if he was searching for something. Open. After a while, Ning Yu suddenly opened his eyes. He stretched out his hands and tore a hole in the void. Let's leave quickly before something unexpected happens. When the gap appeared, Ning Yu grabbed Lu Wei and jumped in. Let's fight. At this point, Evil One could only choose to believe in Ning Yu. Because he discovered that after Ning Yu left, there was a powerful perception flying over from the south gate. Without a doubt, it was Fairy Yun Shi and the others. The rupture in the void here naturally attracted their attention. Whoosh. With a leap, Xie Yi squeezed in at the last moment before the gap closed. Buzz. After Xie Yi left, the gap closed up and everything returned to normal. You guys, go to the north gate and take a look. It seems like the people from 100 Flowers City want to attack from there. On the southern gate, Fairy Yun Shi said to the 2 7th grade Earth Sovereigns beside her, furthermore, tell the northern gate to immediately report the slightest disturbance. Yes. The 2 7th grade Earth Sovereigns nodded their heads before they tore through space and disappeared. Aren't you a little too nervous? The peerless slaughter array has already been activated. Unless the 100 Flowers City mobilizes a heavenly sovereign, it's impossible for them to attack the giant shield city within 3 days. Chimo said as he looked at Fairy Yunxi. It was impossible in the past, but who knows if White Shield left any trump cards behind. It's better to be careful. Fairy Yunxi's expression was emotionless as she spoke. White Shield was the city lord of the giant shield city. If he really left any trump cards behind, the consequences would be unimaginable. Now that you've put it that way, it might be possible. No, I have to interrogate those people. I must get something out of them. Chimo's expression was a little grave. His figure flashed as he flew towards the city lord's mansion. The cultivators that colluded with White Shield had already been captured and interrogated by him. However, Chimo did not obtain any useful information from them. Now that there might be a change, Chimo naturally had to interrogate them again. This time, Chimo decided that no matter what method he had to use, he had to get something out of them. Whoosh! At the same time, 3 cultivators suddenly appeared in a dense forest outside the giant shield city. Without a doubt, these 3 cultivators were Ningyu, Xieyi, and the rest. They really left. Looking around, Xieyi felt that it was a little unbelievable. He was extremely excited to be able to leave the giant shield city safely. That was an ultimate killing formation. How did Ningyu break it? Since Ningyu could break the ultimate killing formation, didn't that mean that as long as he captured Ningyu, he could break the killing formation from the outside? Ha ha ha. The more he thought about it, the more excited Xieyi got. In the end, he couldn't help but laugh out loud. Hearing Xieyi laugh, Ningyu looked at him as though he was looking at an idiot. Have you lost your mind? I'm sorry, I'm just a little excited to be able to leave the giant shield city successfully. Xieyi retracted his smile and said, Don't rush. What will make you excited is yet to come. Bring me to see the ferocious and bloodthirsty wolves. Ningyu looked at Xieyi with a faint smile. If anything happens to the ferocious and bloodthirsty wolves, you should know the consequences. See the ferocious and bloodthirsty wolves. Aren't we going to see my main body? Why do we have to see the ferocious and bloodthirsty wolves? Xieyi was a little confused. He thought he was going to see the main body. Who would have thought that Ningyu's idea was a little strange? He wanted to see the 2 wolves. Should I contact the main body? Xieyi's eyes flickered. He wanted to contact the main body but was afraid that Ningyu would find out. After all, he only had one chance. If he missed this opportunity, he wouldn't get another one. What's wrong? You can't bring me to see the ferocious and bloodthirsty wolves. Seeing Xieyi's face, Ningyu was confused. There is a way, but I'm afraid you won't dare to go. Xieyi frowned. The 2 wolves are 7th grade Earth Sovereigns and the cultivators guarding them are 8th grade Earth Sovereigns. With your current state, halfway through his sentence, Xieyi seemed to have thought of something and stopped talking. Ningyu was indeed only a 9th grade human sovereign and could only fight against a 3rd grade Earth Sovereign. However, Ningyu had a 8th grade Earth Sovereign with him. The reason why he was controlled by Ningyu and the array he set up was all because of the 8th grade Earth Sovereign. Where are the ferocious and bloodthirsty wolves? Ningyu didn't want to listen to Xieyi's nonsense. He asked directly, Can we sneak to where the ferocious and bloodthirsty wolves are? I'm afraid it's a little difficult. Xieyi shook his head. I heard that there are 2 8th grade Earth Sovereigns in 100 Flowers City who have their eyes on the 2 wolves and want to make them their mounts. Crack crack. Hearing this, Ningyu clenched his fists tightly. The ferocious and scarred wolves had helped him a lot. He had to get them out no matter what. You must have a way. Taking a deep breath, Ningyu calmed down. Needless to say, Xieyi definitely had a way to get close to the ferocious and bloodthirsty wolves. The reason why Xieyi didn't want to tell him was because he wanted to get more benefit. I do have a way. Now that things had come to this, Xieyi didn't want to hide anymore. He said, As long as you let go of me, I will. Poochie. Before Evil Yi could finish his sentence, he felt his body lighten and he fell backwards. Crack. The huge tree, which was as thick as a person's waist, was directly smashed in half. Crack. Chapter 1467. Earth Dragon Grass. Remember your identity, captive, prisoner. You have no right to bargain with me. After kicking Xie Yi away, Ningyu said indifferently, you only have two choices now. Either you bring me to see the ferocious blood-crazed wolf, or you die. You. Xie Yi clenched his teeth. He didn't think that Ningyu would be so ruthless, not giving him any chance at all. Actually, he was just testing Ningyu. He didn't think that Ningyu would release his control over him. He just wanted to test Ningyu's thoughts. Who would have thought that Ningyu wouldn't even give him a chance to retort? He extended his right leg and kicked him far away. I'll bear with you for a while longer. Because they were far from the main body, Xie Yi didn't do anything. He could only swallow his anger. Taking a deep breath, Xie Yi said, I do have a way to bring you to the wolves, but, Xie Yi paused and continued, you have to promise me not to mess around. If we attract the attention of the 100-Flower City's army, we will be in deep trouble. Where are they? Are they in the army? Ningyu was confused. Why did it sound like they were going deep into the enemy's territory? That's right, they are in the army. Evil nodded and said, this time, the army of 100-Flower City is divided into east, south, west, and north. The two wolves are in the east. It's very dangerous to go deep into the east. I suggest that some people don't go. Xie Yi glanced at Lu Wei, his meaning clear. To Xie Yi, Lu Wei was only an 8th grade human supreme. She would only be a burden to the East Army. She's more useful than you. Ningyu didn't want to argue with Xie Yi about Lu Wei. He said, let's not waste time. Let's go. Follow this forest to the east. At the end, you will see the East Army. Xie Yi pointed to the east. Go. Ningyu was not an indecisive person. He took Lu Wei with him and walked toward the east side of the forest. Due to the arrival of the 4 armies of the 100-Flower City, the demonic beasts in the forest had all scattered, leaving only a few behind. Along the way, Ningyu and the others were unimpeded. Furthermore, Ningyu had also found out from Xie Yi that the leader of the Eastern Army was a quasi-heavenly sovereign. Since there was a half-step heaven supreme, Ningyu had Lu Wei enter his spatial ring, and he and Evil 2 continued on their way. Ningyu and Xie Yi were not slow. Soon, they reached the end of the forest. There are actually so many people in the Eastern Army. At the end of the forest, Ningyu looked at the large army in the distance with a serious look in his eyes. Ningyu knew that there were many people attacking Giant Shield City this time, but he hadn't expected there to be so many. Although the 100 Flowers City was bigger than the Giant Shield City, it shouldn't be by much, right? There shouldn't be so many people here. Looks like you don't know much about that mysterious expert of the 100 Flowers Palace. Seeing Ningyu's puzzled expression, Xie Yi explained, that expert is very powerful. Most of the cultivators in the 100 Flowers Palace listen to his orders. Furthermore, he has even used the resources of the 100 Flowers Palace to recruit experts to lead the charge. I see. Ningyu nodded his head. The half-step heavenly sovereign from the Eastern Army is called Meng Quan. Rumor has it that he's from the Alchemy Union and is a pinnacle 9th grade alchemist. I'm not sure if it's true, Xie Yi said. The situation is a little, not good. Someone's coming. Just when Ningyu was about to speak, his face turned grave. He immediately tore space apart and entered. Xie Yi also waved his hands and disappeared in an instant. Rustle. Rustle. Not long after, 2 first-grade Earth sovereigns appeared. How troublesome. They actually want us to borrow some Earth Dragon grass from the Western Army. Isn't that nonsense? One of the 2 first-grade Earth sovereigns had a tanned face and a tall figure, while the other had a short figure with long hair. Amongst them, the tanned man grumbled, how can we borrow something as precious as the Earth Dragon grass? Stop grumbling. Master Mu Ping and Master Mu Hua need the Earth Dragon grass to refine into elixirs to subdue the 2 bloodthirsty wild wolves. The long-haired man waved his hand. Although it's a tough task, if we can complete it, who knows, Master Mu Ping might reward us with a few elixirs. Wouldn't that be great? That's right. Only by going through hardships can one rise above others. The black-faced man nodded his head and said, I've heard that the higher-ups will reward us with 1,000 Emperor-grade origin crystals for every Earth Sovereign's head we behead in the giant shield city. If we can obtain those elixirs to increase our strength, we'll definitely be able to kill many Earth Sovereign experts of the giant shield city. Those trash of the giant shield city are too stubborn. They don't even know the simple logic of adapting to circumstances. They deserve to be killed. The long-haired man's lips rose into an arc as he eerily said, Really? Suddenly, a faint voice resounded in the ears of the long-haired man and the tanned man. Who is it? The sudden change caused the faces of the tanned man and the long-haired man to drastically change as they cautiously looked around and said in a solemn voice, Don't try to fool us. Get out here. As you wish. In response to the black-faced man and the others, there was only a faint reply. Buzz. Thereafter, the space before the tanned man suddenly split apart and a figure slowly appeared in his sight. 9th grade mortal sovereign? Ha ha ha. Seeing the cultivator that suddenly appeared, the tanned man was briefly stunned before he burst into laughter. And here I was wondering what expert it was. So it's a 9th grade mortal sovereign. Ha ha ha, I'm dying of laughter. I'll see where you get your confidence from to contend with me. As he spoke, the tanned man swiftly charged out and threw his iron-like fist towards Ningyu's face. Crack! Ningyu unhurriedly threw out a punch, which coincidentally collided with the tanned man's fist. A crisp sound rang out. A figure rapidly retreated and heavily crashed into the ground. How is that possible? The long-haired man's face was filled with shock and disbelief. In his view, the tanned man was a 1st-grade Earth Sovereign, while his opponent was only a 9th-grade mortal sovereign. The gap between the two was huge, so it didn't make sense for the tanned man to lose. However, the truth was placed before him, so the long-haired man had no choice but to believe it. Brat, you're courting death. Clenching his fists, the long-haired man instantly charged out and roared, Let's attack together. I don't believe we can't kill him. Did you ask for my opinion before you attacked? As the long-haired man advanced, space split apart and Xieyi appeared. Swish. You're tuning in to the Celestial War YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.